Alrighty, we are back with more Unicorn Overlord. It is time for report. Lego! Berengaria. Actually got a fair amount left with her. But every chunk that we do that has a fair amount will be less on the ones going forward. Berengaria and Virginia. Stop right there. Oh, look who it is. Prince Gilbert's prized hostage. You really have to be so incessantly aggressive. That's hilarious coming from you. So, you need something? I want to know where you're skulking off to. You're not planning to sell us out to Zenoira, are you? Good guess, Princess, but no. Betraying the Liberation's not in my best interest. And if it were, you never even see it coming. Don't worry. I'm not looking to cross the Prince. Or Travis, for that matter. Heard there's some bandits making camp to the north of here. Thought I'd clear them out before it became a problem. What? That's it? Then let me join you. Not a chance. We're doing plenty already, guarding the camp. Besides, I'm not too keen on babysitting a royal pain in the neck. Sorry. Not what I meant. Just used to fighting alone is all. Dare imply I can't handle myself in battle. Not it. Our countries have got enough bad blood as it is, Virginia. Imagine how much worse it'd get if you died on my watch. You don't need to explain my own affairs to me, thank you. And I'm more than capable of pulling my weight against a lowly band of brigands. Suit yourself. Way I hear it, these bandits put traps all over their camp. One wrong move and we'll end up tied up in a cage or worse. So if you insist on coming with, I need you to follow my orders down to the letter. Excuse me? Think you can do that? You forget who you're dealing with. It won't be a problem. Huh. She's actually pretty reliable, long as you can keep her reined in. What was that? Oh, nothing. Now come on, we've got work to do. That was a clash of personalities. Otis, your eyes are barely open, my boy. You looking all like this. You looking heavy-lidded. You seepy? You gonna come up here and seep? Oh, that's a sweet boy. Yes, it is. That's a sweet boy! Guess we should start going from the top now. Leia! Really? Berengaria and Leia. You recall when we first met, Lady Berengaria. It was during a royal ball at Castle Soldraga 10 years ago. Alright, can't say I remember you. It's strange, though. I don't think I'd miss sight of hair like that. Wait a second. I was at the ball, but the only blue I saw was a little bird perched on the prince's shoulder. That must have been you, hiding in the dark of his shadow. A blue bird. They're supposed to be good omens, you know. So when I saw one with the prince, I took it as a sign that things turned out just fine. And yet, it wasn't long until war broke out and our lands fell to Zenoira. Boy! You want pets or not? You always freak me out whenever you do this whole, like, I'm gonna flip on my side while I'm being petted. Like, you don't want me to pet down your side like this. You're dumb! You're dumb! Quite far from the symbol of hope you thought me as. If anything, I was more akin to a curse inflicted upon the late king for ever daring to shelter me. Easy there, I meant what I said. And while I'm not going to try and pretend to know what the king saw in you, well, let me tell you how I see it. A good omen doesn't automatically mean things will be all diamonds and roses. No, they're little more than a reminder that nothing comes without hard work. Still neck deep in rapport combos, yep. I'm hoping we're going to finish tonight or be very close to finishing tonight. Because each of these is starting to go faster and faster. Motivation, then, not a guarantee. Just like the monuments we build after war. They're not idle wishes for peace, but a warning of what might happen if we don't strive to protect it. So back at the ball, when I saw that bird, I thought about my family, about a life of happiness, and how hard I'd have to fight to make it real. Can't say I think any different seeing you now. Anyway, take care of that hair of yours. I will. Perhaps the king himself fought for much the same wish. We know the former king's plans. And they were, lofty. We'll do Bruno, then we'll do Elaine, then we'll do Travis. Ah, go through the bridge. Go across the bridge, Otis. Mwah! Been attacked. Mwah! Twice. So, Bruno, I hear you took charge of the tricorns after I left. This might sound weird coming from me, but how's everyone doing? Well, things were tough for a while after you ditched us, but we kept it going pretty good. At least till Zenoira showed up and took us all captive. Past that, I don't know what happened to him. What do you mean? By the time Elaine got to me, the whole damn gang had changed. The bodies surrounding me weren't our friends, but sorcerers and flying types. Kind of folks we'd never even dreamed of hiring back in the Tricorn days. So yeah, figure everyone must have left when Zenoira got hold of me. They probably weren't too happy about all the new blood you were bringing in. Or maybe they didn't want to work for whatever bastard was talking out of my mouth. The way I'm hearing it, they only left when they realized you changed. That's probably what pushed them over the edge. What you're saying is it's my fault you don't have a gang to come back to. Come back? I abandoned you, remember? Left you all out in the cold for nothing. After what I've done, I don't have the right. Now hold on, boss. All the same. I'm glad to know you still want me around anyway. Like I'd ever not. But listen, Bruno, we're with the Liberation now. And if there's anywhere we're making up for past mistakes of the past, it's here. You understand? Didn't want to go. Loud and clear, boss. Do you understand, Bruno? I don't know about that. Started playing Grandia 2, made learning stuff way easier, and you're super appreciative. Oh, well, that's cool. Also, yeah, I saw your screenshot. Rapport. Bruno. Mwah. Mwah. Hey, boss, you gotta hear this. What is it, Bruno? With that kind of excitement, I think you just saw a unicorn. It's even better than that. There's gonna be a feast tonight. On Elaine's orders, I take it. Ah, that's the best part of the whole thing. A bunch of our mercs are secretly hoping to throw a party for Elaine, not the other way round. And I imagine they only told you on the condition you'd keep quiet about it. Well, sure. What was I supposed to do, not tell ya? Anyway, I was thinking we could go on a little hunting trip like we used to for all the tricorn feasts. Wait a second, Bruno. These mercs didn't happen to have any tattoos, did they? Now that you mention it, they all did have some kind of cocoon-looking thing on their shoulder, yeah. Bandits. The steel butterflies. Bring your axe, Bruno. Looks like we'll have a hunting trip after all. What about the party? Sorry to break it to you, but there is no party. The bandits just told you that to keep you quiet. Now come on, we don't have much time. So gullible. You did good back there, Bruno. If not for you, we'd all be face down in a ditch right now. Shame about the feast, though. I was looking forward to throwing back a few rounds together. There's no reason we can't still do that. Grab us a bottle or two, will you? Now you're talking my language. I'll bring Travis, too. That was nice. It was a little odd and not very relationship building, but, you know. Could have been maybe cool if they met with some old gang members, perhaps. Elaine and Berengaria. Well, if it isn't everyone's favorite little workhorse. Please, Berengaria, needn't patronize me. I'm not. Just thought you could use a bit of friendly teasing is all. If everyone keeps treating you like some kind of perfect commander, you'll always feel like you're stuck acting the part. That would be rather stifling, yes. And you and me, we barely know each other, which means we're free to just breathe, be ourselves without giving a damn about what everyone else thinks. I suppose it would feel rather odd letting my guard down amidst my royal retainers. Right? I wouldn't want to be caught dead talking to my men like this either. You know, Berengaria, I believe that's the first time I've ever seen you laugh like that. You got a problem with it? Not at all. It's almost stunning in a way. Make fun of me again and it'll be the last thing you do. That's not my intent, I assure you. Just a little friendly teasing, as you put it. But I promise I meant every word. Me? Stunning? Huh. Can't say I've ever thought of myself like that. And I don't think anyone's called me on it either. It feels pretty good knowing you think so. Uh-oh. I never even thought about romancing Berengaria. Honest. Oh, my controller is freaking out. Up here? Yep. Good guess. You're all attractive? Yeah, I don't think there's an unattractive female in Unicorn Overlord. I don't get this. Why do you keep talking to me like this? Well, perhaps it's because I enjoy your company, and the chance to let my guard down, of course. But I'll be sure to keep my distance more often if it troubles you so. Listen to me, Elaine. You know how you said before it's a good thing we barely know each other? Well, there's a downside to that, too. Meaning what, precisely? There's no telling when one of us might turn on the other. But that's how it goes when you're practically strangers. There's not a damn thing keeping us together, so one wrong move and the whole thing falls apart. Not that I'm planning to put a knife in your back anytime soon, but if Cornea and Drakenhold ever went to war again, you know which side I'd pick. Nothing personal. Then you mean to say that all of this was for naught? That you would betray my trust without the slightest hesitation? Or perhaps I've always been a simple pawn in your grand schemes. If that's what you want to believe, so be it. Just know, I really have enjoyed our little chats. Especially when you get all defensive about me deserting you. Is this some manner of joke to you, Berengaria? Sorry, guess I'm just surprised to see you care so much. But maybe that means we're not the strangers I thought we were. Let's just hope our countries don't get in the way of that. Yes, let's. That's the, least romantic romance conversation? That's definitely just a dream. Yeah, I was gonna say, that's definitely just a dream. Alright, Berengaria and Travis. I'm excited to see how these two turn out. Ren, what's the vacant look for? Oh, just thinking about some of these scars. Got more than I realized while Baltro had his hooks in me. Though considering how long that lasted, I'm just glad I walked away with all my limbs. Do they hurt? The scars, that is? One does. Sometimes. The one I got dragging you down from that tree. You climbed all the way up, but got too scared to make it back to solid ground. That's so weird. Because obviously she was talking about the scars she got while she was mind-controlled. And then he asked, do they hurt? Implying, do any of those scars hurt? But she's like, I'm gonna ignore the scars I got while I was mind-controlled and say, yes, one of my scars hurt, but it's one of... That was a weird, focus switch there. You're never gonna stop teasing me for that, are you? We were kids, Ren. Yep. And we both ended up falling on our faces. I'm just glad you were okay. Only because you shielded me from the impact. All our lives you put yourselves in harm's way for me. Taking my fair share of scars for it, too. But you're always the one cleaning up my mess. That has nothing to do with it. Listen, Ren, I'm sick and tired of you never thinking about yourself. Every time you go running off, it hurts. Bad. But you know what hurts even more? The thought of you suffering out there all alone. Do you even realize how awful it felt looking for you? For all I knew, you were gone forever. And if you were, well, I'd never have forgiven you for leaving me, or myself for letting it happen. A while since I've seen you cry like this. I know an apology can't quite make up for what I did, but I am sorry. And hey, promised we'd stick together from now on, right? What if you get pets? Undeserved pets. Like words mean anything to you. I know you'll just leave me again the first chance you get. Ooh, shots fired. He's not seeping yet. He's still awake. Still a wakey boy. He's not seeping yet. Travis, you're hurt. Planning on telling me what happened, or what? I overheard some people talking about stealing your armor. Thought I'd teach them a lesson, you know? Stop them from ever thinking about it again. Turns out there's not much I can do against a pack of thieves. And why did you even try? Would have handled them myself. I respectfully disagree. I feel like Travis could take on a lot of thieves by himself. If anything, I'm the one who should have gotten hurt. Well, maybe now you'll understand how I feel. Dodge tank does so much. Don't tell me this was on purpose. I'm not that eager to prove a point. Still, it doesn't feel good watching the only family you've got running themselves into the ground. Does it, Ren? Like you're powerless. All you can do is let it happen. Though I will say, I think I'm starting to see how you feel too. If one of us is bound to get hurt, I'd much rather it be me. I'm sorry. I never realized the pain I was putting you through. If you really mean that, then stop. Oh, I'm sorry too. It wasn't how I wanted this conversation to go. Ooh, he's such a grumpy boy. I told myself I was doing this to protect him, but maybe it doesn't matter what I thought. Alright, what's the finalization here? How do things end between Berengaria and Travis? Travis! Catch yourself on that. In a moment, and you can have it back. Here you go. Here you go. Pet yourself. Like this is goodbye. Wait, Ren, please. Can't keep doing this alone. Aw, poor Travis. He's got nightmares. You okay, Travis? I haven't seen someone scream themselves awake in years. Bad dream is all. Thought you were leaving me again. Oh, good. Now I'm giving you nightmares. Huh. What's so funny? Back while you were gone, everything was the other way around. I'd always dream about being in the tricorns again, fighting side by side like nothing had ever happened. And what scared me most was waking up, realizing that none of it was real. I wished I could just live in my dreams instead of alone on the outside. I had no idea. But now, no matter how bad a dream might get, you're always here when I open my eyes. I'd take that over how it used to be any day of the week. Wait, doesn't this mean you'll be having nightmares for the rest of your life? Can't say I envy that. It's like you said, better that than the alternative. And while I can't fix everything, I can stay with you. Besides, how else am I going to make sure you're staying out of trouble? Thanks, Ren. You have no idea how long I waited to hear you say that. I mean, she said it like twice now. Like, prior to this, she said it like twice now. And you just won't let her go on it. Travis! Mwah! Kiss your head. Travis and Prim. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Huh? 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 Oh. He's giving me kisses, but no. And I'm in his pot. No, don't rub my headset. Travis, why are you carrying all that food? Some of the locals gave it to me for chasing Zenoira out of their town. I was just on my way to test it for poison. Oh? And do you do that every time, all by yourself? I have to, yeah. Though they don't usually give us quite this much. But don't worry, I've got an antidote from Yana in case anything actually is poisoned. And I'd smell anything strong enough to kill me before I even took a bite. And so, are you sure you should be taking on such a grave responsibility alone? I told you, I'll be fine. What's got you so concerned anyway? She's not concerned, she just wants some of that food. Don't tell me you're only in this for a snack. Oh no, well... Got some real courage if you're willing to risk your life just to fill your stomach. Sorry, it's just, my sister is particularly fond of a certain kind of cake you can only buy in that town. And so am I, actually. Go on. All I'm saying is I can help cure you if you ever need it, Travis. And my appetite's not the only reason I'm offering. But you admit it is a reason. Fine, you're welcome to do your little taste testing if you want. I'm still taking the first bite, just in case something goes wrong. Please don't call it taste testing. But it is! I like that one of the biggest things that we've learned about Prem, aside from her loving her sister entirely too much, is that she has a bottomless pit for a stomach. Don't choke yourself. Don't do it. Do you and Hilda tend to get along, Prem? For sisters, I can't imagine two more different people. Well, thinking back on it now, I've always felt this impossible distance between us. She excelled at anything she laid her hands on, while I was a bit more clumsy and reserved. And once she met her wyvern, that distance only grew all the greater. I can understand why. Though I'd often watch from afar whenever she went into the mountains to greet her newfound friend. All I wanted was to be close to her, but being the portly girl I was... Portly?! Maybe in your youth. I feared the wyverns were more likely to eat me than welcome my presence. I didn't realize they feed on humans. Oh, they don't. I was just young and afraid more than anything. Life went on as normal for a while, Hilda braving the mountains alone, with me following behind at a distance, till one day a band of wyvern poachers found me and took me captive. How did you end up getting away? Hilda and her friend came to rescue me, of course. And from that day forth, the three of us spent time together just about every day. So, a band of wyvern poachers kidnapped a young girl. The wyvern poachers, who the thing that they do is hunt wyverns, and they got taken out by one girl on the back of one wyvern. They're not very good at their jobs, are they? Meaning you finally had the bond of sisterhood you desired. Exactly. Or at least I did. The plague struck our home not long after, and I left the region in search of anything that might lead to a cure. But that just makes me even happier that I finally got the chance to see her again. Thank you for that, Elaine. Yeah, calling Prem portly is... just feels wildly inaccurate. I hope she managed to keep that guy alive. Sorry, Elaine, I couldn't just stand and watch that poor man while that poor man lost his life. But I wasn't planning on throwing my own away either. I actually found myself in a similar situation before, thrust into battle without even a moment's notice. And things seemed to work themselves out then as well. Yeah, I'm aware. I made that work out. Perhaps so, yet you can't always rely on sheer luck to see you through such fits of danger. Assuming such fortuity is what emboldens you now. You had best forget it ever happened. Would you still say that knowing the battle I speak of? It was the day we first met, Elaine. Was it now? The midst of combat was the last place I wanted to be, as I'm sure you can imagine. But if I hadn't been there, you never would have found me, nor would I have ever thought to join the liberation. In my eyes, that fortuity is quite an important memory, and in yours too, I think. So don't even consider telling me to forget it. Grim, not that my past blessings had anything at all to do with today. Even if the world itself was conspiring against me, I still wouldn't have left that soldier to die. Forgive me, please. I only said what I did out of worry for your safety. And I understand how you feel as well. I often find instinct takes over in such life or death circumstances. Yet if you're ever going to charge off like that, I merely ask that you bring me with you. Just couldn't bear to see you alone again. You won't have to, Elaine. The next time this happens, I'll make sure you're right there with me every step of the way. Just take someone. It doesn't have to always be Elaine. Just always take someone. I promise you that. Was it just a dream? Yes, it was. Of course it was. Leia! Only 2 things left. Virginia and Elaine. We'll do Virginia. Sweet Virginia. Virginia and Leia. Are you certain you wish to join me, your ladyship? I'd think such markets to be rather beneath you. How many times must I repeat myself? You're always following my every move, so it's only fair we do what you want now and then. I suppose so, yes. As long as you remain where I can see you, I'll not protest any further. I'm not your child, Leia. Now lead the way. Very well. Ah, look here. What a cute little sculpture. I never thought I'd see the day you call something cute. Let me see it. Oh. It's a wooden carving of a 3-headed beast, each face with its own wonderful expression. Right, because Leia's obsessed with 3-headed creatures. One gallant, one terrifying, and one filled with joy. Have you lost your mind, Leia? Where would you even put such a thing? Well, besides my pillow, of course. What? That way I could see it every morning when I woke up. For me, I think the beast would just give me nightmares. Don't let my preferences stop you from buying what you want. Go on. So strange. Her obsession. Again, though, I think it would have been really cool if we could have gotten, like, a Cerberus unit from Gilbert's final conversation. That would have been swank. Or, right, assuming that those things don't exist in Fevrith, again, items from this conversation with Virginia getting a little trinket. Just a little, you know, like, carryable item that's like, oh, it's a little 3-headed sculpture that does blah, 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 you know? It would really make the rapport conversations feel like they mattered and had lasting weight. Leia is always so willing to do anything I ask of her, but I wonder if there's a limit to how far she'll go. Don't try to find it. No, don't do that. That's fucked up. Perhaps I'll put that to a little test. Oh, Leia, I just had a sudden craving for fish. I was hoping I might catch and cook one for myself. Would you care to join me? Gladly, your ladyship, as long as we stay within relative proximity to the fort. Then come, we have a Cornian trout to hook. Okay, this doesn't really feel like pushing it. If you don't mind, Leia, I was thinking we might head into the mountains to ensnare a local boar next. And once we've returned with our quarry, we can roast it whole for a nice hearty meal. As you wish. I'll summon one of our hunters at once and prepare our packs for a productive journey. Thank you. I look forward to it. Tell me something, Leia. Why do you not flinch in the face of my exorbitant demands? Fishing and hunting are hardly exorbitant. I'm not certain what you mean. I've grown quite accustomed to your whims over the years, and today's requests are no different. You saying I'm always this unreasonable? For me, my princess, serving as your attendant is already far beyond my duty to the Drakenhold throne. In light of that truth, nothing you ask could be too excessive. A fair point, I suppose. Yet I admit there have been some occasions where I felt you overstepped your welcome. Oh yeah? All the same, I've witnessed firsthand how truly fearless you can be as well. It's a trait that has granted me more courage than you might think, and one which makes me forever proud to serve at your side, my princess. That's how you feel, is it? In that case, I've got plenty more requests where that came from. And no one else I would rather turn to than you, Leia. Thank you, your ladyship. Though do try to keep them within reason, would you? Again, fishing and hunting do not seem like unreasonable requests. You're unreasonable. And we haven't fought this person before, so time to kill him. Alright, Leia with Elaine. Wait, what are you doing out here? I've been curious, Leia. How did you come to enter Gilbert's service? Through my duty to the royal court, of course. Even at a young age, I often attended to the late King Hugo. Is the role of your family, then, to maintain the brilliance of Drakenhold's crown? No. If I may speak plain, I never knew my parents. From what I've been told, I was left at the gates of Castle Soldraga as a newborn. Forgive me, I didn't mean to assume. As the story goes, King Hugo found me out there, crying and alone, and took me in to be raised by one of the court's many wet nurses. He treated me almost like his own daughter at times, brushing my hair and doing whatever he could to ensure I felt comfortable. It's only through his kindness that I stand here now, and that of Gilbert, who has continued that habit in the years since his father's death. I sincerely can't say if I even hail from Drakenhold to begin with, yet I know one thing for certain. I owe my life to the royal family. Understandably so, yes. Thinking about it now, I find it hard to tell if it was sympathy which motivated King Hugo to take me in, or if he was purely struck by a passing fancy. But my stance on the matter will be forever unchanged. I know how you feel, Leia, at least to an extent. Much of the reason I was impelled to survive, was because I had to do so for the sake of my lineage, no matter how hard I wished it was love, and only love. Yet whatever the reason, the fact still remains that I was saved, and in light of that truth, I've nothing but the utmost gratitude. You've wisdom beyond your years, my friend. Know that I shall ever hold the same gratitude deep in my heart. Yeah, that's interesting. If we had less characters and more time to develop the characters that we had, we could perhaps explore Leia's birth and parentage. That would have been pretty cool. Leia, is everything all right, my prince? It is now, yes. In truth, it looked from afar like you were standing here crying, but it seems the light of the moon was playing tricks on me. Ah, I'm fine, yes. Though at times, after everyone else has gone asleep, I find myself succumbing to a sudden rush of loneliness, a sensation which can only be swept away by the gentle evening breeze. I felt the same myself ever since I was but a boy. The silence of night tends to invite all manner of merciless thoughts. Back on Polevia, I often solved it through walks by the shore, staring out into the endless expanse of black ocean. It frightened Joseph to no end to wake up in the middle of the night and find me missing. Something similar happened to me once. Having slipped out of the bed to roam Soldraga's dark castle halls, I came across King Hugo doing just the same. I feared the worst, of course, but rather than scold me, he simply ushered me back to my room and began to sing. It was the first lullaby I had ever heard, a warmth I had never before experienced. In that moment, I couldn't help but wonder if that was what it felt like to have parents of my own. It was a lovely memory indeed. Getting like some weird audio garble. Not just while playing this game, just in general. I wonder what's up with that. I'm not certain I bear the aptitude for song that King Hugo did, but if you'd like, I would be glad to stay at your side until the tide of sleep eventually rolls in. Should you not be getting rest yourself, my prince? Worry not, Leia. I'm wide awake, having just come from a war council. But I'd love to keep you company for a while, assuming you don't mind. Perhaps you could tell me more of King Hugo while I did. See? I would very much like that. And thank you for always treating me with such ample kindness. Now, when I was a girl of only 7 or 8... And story. See, that wasn't even super romantic. Like, I'm not a big fan that, you can't have I care about you conversations with more than one woman in this game. Scarlet and Virginia? Is that who I'm on? Is Virginia? Yeah, that would make sense. Scarlet and Virginia. Scarlet, what are you doing over here? Perfect timing, Virginia. Look at the little friend I found. Isn't he adorable? Oh no. What is Virginia afraid of? That foul beast is no friend of mine. What do you mean? He's harmless. Make haste, Elaine. A grotesque new evil threatens to ravage our lands. What? It's just a caterpillar, Virginia. We used to catch them all the time back on Polevia. See, there's nothing to be afraid of. Stay back. I'll not hear another word, vile temptress. Okay, so Virginia's terrified of caterpillars. Gotcha. Oops, he crawled into your armor. Okay, well, yeah, if you throw a caterpillar into my armor, I'll be up too. Oh, nope, she's frozen. Oh, there he is. I'm glad you're safe, Sir Caterpillar. Virginia? And on that day, Virginia died. What's the matter, Scarlet? We came as quick as we could. Hey, Elaine, the princess isn't looking so good. Virginia and Joseph. Ah! If you don't mind me saying, Joseph, it's good to see just how much Elaine has grown since the last time I saw him. Ever since that horrible day 10 years ago. I have to wonder how did he fare after fleeing Cornea? As well as you might expect. His own mother lay slain, and he was made to abandon the only home he had ever known. By the time we reached Palevian shores, His Highness was fatigued in both body and mind. He scarcely ate 1 meal a day, and neither study nor sword work could hold his interest. Yet, over time, he made friends on the island. They trained together, learned together, and reveled together in the carefree way only children can. And before I knew it, a smile had gradually returned to his face. Good to see he's found people he cares about. Even now, they're practically inseparable when we're not in battle. Of course, I couldn't always be there for him myself. But even if I were, I doubt I could have ever healed his broken heart the way they have. By the by, he would often ask after you during our time away from Cornea. From what I could gather, he feared he may never see you again. Really now? Indeed, memories of your childhood together lent him much strength in those troubled years. And I thank the Father above for reuniting you after all this time. Maybe I should try a little harder to connect with him then. Maybe you should, cousin. Wait, we're cousins, right? Pretty sure we're cousins. Okay. I don't like that. I'm gonna have to investigate whatever the fuck this audio thing is, but I'm not gonna do it now because, dear Lord, I have teched myself out here lately. It feels as though it were only yesterday that I walked with Queen Elenia on this very beach. As I'm certain you know, the burdens of governance occupied much and more of her time on the throne. Yet our journeys here, infrequent as they were, surely provided her with the respite she so dearly needed. It wasn't often she eased her royal countenance, but here she would smile as if nothing could ever trouble her again. I hadn't realized this place held such meaning to her. Dead. That's you, my queen. Oh, shit. Joseph's getting senile. He's seeing shit. Is everything alright, Joseph? In all honesty, no. For a moment, you appeared to mine eye as Queen Elenia herself. Sorry, I what? I understand it sounds mad, yet as I've said before, your resemblance to her is truly striking. And here you stand, regal and dignified as she once did all those years ago. You honor me with the comparison, Joseph. All this talk has brought back memories, you know. I'm noticing it more and more, and it's annoying the piss out of me. I've just got to ignore it for tonight. I do not have the time to try to figure out what is happening or why. I'm gonna open Task Manager though, because I do have a sneaky suspicion of one of the things that might be happening. Of what, I might ask? When Elaine and I were young, we spent much of our time playing in the garden at Grand Karen. And while we generally got along quite well, there was one day we found ourselves in a furious argument. It was over a game of chess, if memory serves me right. Both of us were so determined to win that we each took turns making illegal moves, hoping the other wouldn't notice. But we did notice, of course, hence the dispute. Ah, yes. Calm as Elaine may seem at times, he has a fiercely competitive side to him as well. Though on this occasion, both of us were at fault, and Aunt Elenia punished us equally for it. She was always doing things like that, acting just as kind toward me as she did to Elaine, and just as strict, too. Almost like I was her daughter, not her niece. Right. Sorry, I'm looking at that. Ooh. Yeah, so it seems like it might not be the case, but it seems like the 4K capture service that I use with my Elgato is spiking in CPU usage whenever there's an audio blip. So I wonder if it's related to that. Right you are. I can still remember the feeling of her hand caressing my cheek, the warmth and the love. It was a sight I witnessed often as well. All my life I've tried to follow in her footsteps, to one day be every bit as strong and gentle as a woman as she was. You're far closer to that ideal than you may realize, Princess, as proven by my vision earlier. Say, Joseph, I can't thank you enough for bringing me here. Sweet. Alright, let's see how Elaine and Virginia get along. That'll be down here, right? Yep. Hold up, what? Those are blue soldiers. Calm down. Impudent cretins. You'll pay for insulting him like that. What's happening here? It's the princess, sir. You have to stop her. What do you think you're doing, Virginia? Oh, just having a civilized discussion with my friends here. As for you, you don't want to know what'll happen if I catch you spreading such slander again. What was it they were saying exactly? They claimed you had murdered Queen Elenia. A what? All part of some baseless rumor that you and Galerius have been working together since the day Zenoira rose to power. That makes 0 sense! A rumor's gotta have some, thread of conceptualized truth to be a good rumor. How damned foolish could they be? You're the one who seeks to slay the monster, not enable his reign. I understand now. Yet I can't begrudge them that. 'Tis only natural to doubt a man who appears after 10 years claiming himself to be a long-deceased prince. Action alone shall prove those rumors false now. Bastards can't even imagine the pain you've been through. The pressure of carrying the hope of a nation entirely on your own shoulders. The utter despair of losing everything you held dear. Well, technically, I'm not doing it entirely on my own shoulders, because you've been doing it too. It makes me sick just thinking about it. Be that as it may, Virginia, I appreciate your anger on my behalf. And don't worry, there's plenty more where that came from. Oh, I didn't doubt it, Virginia. I did not doubt that you had more anger in you. You have seemed like quite the snappy lady. Well, look who showed up on time. Good kid. Please, Virginia, I'm a grown man, not a child. Then prove it. Take a look at this. A chessboard? Just like we used to play with in the garden at Grand Corinne. Though it was always a one-sided affair, in truth. Every time I won, you'd swear you would finally beat me in our next game. Yet we were cast half a continent away from each other before I had the chance to make good on that promise. I wasn't particularly pleased about being forced to abandon our rivalry when I was so far ahead either. Lucky for us, the time has come for you to avenge your past failures, if you can. I can, and I will. I hope he loses. But graciously. You really have gotten a lot better, Elaine. I suppose all this time commanding an army has given you a keener eye for tactical maneuvers. I wouldn't exactly call chess... Yes, a game of tactical maneuvers, but I wouldn't correlate it to an actual battlefield. I know people say that shit all the time, and it's kind of dumb. Why do you seem so upset about winning? Tell me something, Virginia. Did you not have anyone to play chess with when you were taking refuge in Drakenhold? I didn't. They treated me well, of course, as an exiled princess from their fallen neighbor. But even as a young girl, I knew the time for games was long over. You're the last person I faced off against back in Grand Corinne, but that makes it all the more fun to revisit it now. Why are you crying? Because he got to play chess with people and she didn't? Forgive me, it's only that your strategy remains the same as it was all those years ago. It's a cruel reminder of what this war has stolen from you, the opportunity to enjoy life as every child should. You really are a strange one, Elaine. You don't show a hint of emotion over the things said about you, but here you are shedding tears for me. As if you're any different. You're always getting angry on my behalf, regardless of what those around you may think of the matter. Maybe so. I blame that on lack of self-restraint more than anything else. Don't think deeply about it. She's calling herself out. You know, Elaine, there are only two people who can understand the pain we've both been through this past decade, and those people are us. So really, I'm just relieved to know we can be there to feel those emotions for each other. That's pretty good. Per good. Alright, last Elaine, Virginia. Here. In Albion. Good old Albion. I feel I need to apologize for our last conversation, Virginia. And why is that? I thought it was cute seeing you cry as much as you used to as a spoiled little child. Glad you're the only one who ever saw me like that. Probably for the best, yes, but you're free to show me that side of you whenever you want. I'll always be there to take care of you, I promise. I the same, Virginia. Concealed as you were in a foreign land, there were none you could turn to in your times of loneliness. Yet now you have me, present commander of the Liberation Army and future king to all of Cornea. No longer am I the childish boy who could do naught but flee when Zenoivus struck, nor am I a helpless prince who needs you to argue on his behalf. Share with me everything you felt in your days of solitude, and I promise we shall bear them together. I don't know, Elaine. Just think of nothing else for now, Virginia. With me, all you need to do is speak from the heart. I want to go home, back to Grand Corinne and back to our castle. Promise me that we'll live in Cornea again someday, and that we'll do so together, please. I promise. And once we do, we can play in the garden just as we did when we were young. You have my word. That actually kind of hit. That actually kind of got me. Like, I legitimately do feel for Virginia in her situation. Okay, Rosalinde! We've done a lot of already. We've got a Scarlet Rosalinde. What's up with them? Hasn't anyone ever taught you it's dangerous to be out alone in the middle of the night? Oh, if it isn't the Dark Elf who's decided to join us. Yes, and you're the attractive little friend Elaine seems to be so enamored with. I wouldn't say he's enamored with me, or that I'm attractive for that matter. Though we have known each other for a long time now. Is there a reason you've turned away from me? Just trying to be friendly, you know. Really? Because that sounded a little catty. You and Elaine seem to have gotten close rather quickly. Closer than even I tend to get with him. That seems a simple enough fix to me. Just stand right beside him and tell him exactly how you feel. Don't make it sound so easy. Besides, we're at war. This is no time to be distracting him with something as trivial as love. Trivial, is it? Then I guess you wouldn't mind me stealing him away while you're busy holding yourself back. Rosalinde throwing fucking elbows. Of course I mind. I knew you had your eyes set on him. Who's to say? And while I'd love to put that theory to the test, elves like you live a lot longer than humans. It is even possible for you to happily marry one of our kind? Perhaps not, but time and age mean nothing when it comes to matters of the heart. Mark my words, Rosalinde. I won't lose the fight for Elaine, even to someone as gorgeous as you. Ooh, thanks for the compliment. What an adorable girl. It only makes me want to tease her all the more. Rude. Rude. Real rude. Yana! I love Yana. Yana's great. Yana might be one of my favorites. This rejuvenation magic of yours is really something, Yana. Though I always thought your older appearance had a certain allure to it myself. Still, are you sure it was the right decision? You lost almost every ounce of your strength in the process, after all. What need is there for strength when you have a slew of brilliant apprentices? It was they who stood by me as I performed the rejuvenation, actually. You may not be aware, but the more powerful a magic, the more time and effort it demands. But in the days it took to forge my body anew, my apprentices never left my side, even for a second. Had I died in that moment, Rosalinde, I would have left this world without a single regret to my name. It seems you have quite the connection with them. That spell of yours sounds almost as wondrous as the miracle of life itself. I wish I could have been there to witness it. It's a good thing you weren't, really. Every eye would have been on you instead of me. I have to wonder, Yana. Do you think you could live as long as an elf if you kept performing rejuvenation rituals? It's hard to say, though I can already feel my magic starting to slip away from me. By the time I'm actually old again, I expect I won't be a witch at all anymore. Well, I hope I can still visit you when that day comes. Really, there's a downside to that. Interesting. Not for any sort of powerful sorcery, but just to spend time reminiscing with a dear friend. I'd like that very much, Rosalinde. My apprentices and I will welcome you to our village whenever you wish. I mean, why will you be in your village? Lex! Hey, Rosalinde, don't you think you were kind of hard on me back during our battle there? Not at all. Honestly, I was surprised you could find time to joke during such a serious moment. Though I suppose the danger to Altalinde probably was getting to me a bit. Makes sense to me, but for what it's worth, I'm sorry for messing around. Right, because she bitched at him over the bridges. Don't worry yourself over it. We never would have turned the battle in our favor without your help. And I'm not mad at you for it, in case you were wondering. Uh-huh. In fact, I've come to realize that being able to stay positive under such circumstances is a sign of great strength indeed. Whoa, you really mean that? Well, I must be pretty good if I can manage to impress you. You could say that, yes. But if I had to pick one of your virtues above all others, it would be your uncanny ability to lighten the mood in an otherwise tense world. Elaine must be glad to have a best friend as reliable as you, Lex. Aw, shucks. You're gonna make me blush. And I'm pretty sure my grandma used to say the same thing, actually. He wasn't saying that you're like his grandma, Rosalinde. Calm down. Jeebus. You know what? I take it all back. I do need to go harder on you. Hold on a sec. I don't know what I said wrong, but I swear I didn't mean it. Alright. Alright, calm down. Alright, Rosalinde and Elaine. I get the feeling that Rosalinde is probably like, if you made a chart of people who of the people who get picked for the Ring of the Maiden, I would assume Rosalinde is towards the top. I would assume Scarlet is probably number one, just for the people who are just like, oh yeah, it's supposed to be Scarlet, right? Like that's the main thing. So people who pick aside from that or play a second time, right? I assume Rosalinde is probably pretty high on that list. Please don't scare me like that when I'm reading, Rosalinde. Sorry, I just couldn't help myself seeing you stand there all defenseless. It's odd, though. You seemed nothing like this when first we met. Like what? Well, friendly, I suppose. You struck me more as a formal princess than one who would play tricks on her commander. You're awfully cute when you're flustered. It's simply that the more time we spend together, the more I want to learn about who you really are. So I thought I'd show you a little bit of who I really am, too. Well, I can't fault your logic. Unless you're saying you liked me better before. You were standing rather close to me, Rosalinde. Is there something wrong with that? Not as such, no. It's only that it's impossible to read with my book covered in your shadow. Ah, yes, you're reading. Perhaps I wouldn't mind joining you in that venture myself. Though don't worry, I'll make certain I don't obstruct your view. So much for my quiet afternoon. Gonna complain because she's sitting near you reading? Boo-hoo. Down here. Must have fallen asleep for a moment. And deeply at that. Have you been getting enough rest of late? No, actually. Why didn't you wake me up? I'm certain my head was rather heavy on your shoulder. I admit I did consider it, yet you seem so peaceful, without a single trouble in all the world. Feels like it was only yesterday you would lose your composure the minute I drew near to you. Not that I'm complaining, of course, but it's barely even half as enjoyable teasing you anymore. All the better in my view. By the way, you were speaking in your sleep just now. Oh, and what did I say? Something about wanting to spend more time with you, I assume? Oh no! Why did she get chosen instead of me? I surmise you were speaking of Eltalinde becoming the next Turanos. Is that what she was talking about? I always coveted the role, you know. It's only natural when your mother is one of the best this land has ever seen. But none of that matters now. Zenoira took my sister from me, used her body for their vile schemes. The thought alone sets my blood to boil. If only she wasn't the Turanos. If only I had been chosen in her place, she never would have gotten her mind taken over by that damned witch. Am I hearing you correctly? That you wish such harm could have befallen you instead? Yes. How very unlike me. Either way, the only thing I can do now is make sure nobody else gets hurt ever again. Thank you for the shoulder, Elaine. It was a better sleep than I've had in months. I merely pray it was to your benefit. Alright, bring it home. Final Rosalinde. Regarding our recent conversation, you mean the one we had during our last battle, or the time I kept you from reading your book? Neither, in fact. I speak of the day you fell asleep on my shoulder. What about it? Can't stop thinking about what you said. How you wish that you had been Turanos so that Eltalinde would never have come to harm. Yet despite your attempts to laugh the matter off afterwards, I can tell you truly meant every word. You would rather be hurt yourself than see someone you care about experience the same. Moreover, you would gladly bear such pain alone before you would ever consider sharing it with another. I can't disagree with that. If I had to choose between me and Eltalinde, I would pick myself every time. It tormented me to no end, the horrid way that Zenoira sunk their fangs in her. But now I have the chance to ease her agony, to shoulder her burdens however possible. But trust me, it's better that way. You're wrong. You speak of torment, of the agony you would be willing to bear in her name. Where would that leave you? Knowing the length of an elven lifespan, your suffering would surely endure for a great many years. I won't let you consign yourself to such a wretched fate. What? We're talking hypothetically here. Must sound absurd coming from me. Compared to you, I'm akin to a newborn child, ignorant to the ways of the outside world. Okay, that's factual. All the same, I can't abide the thought of you weathering these wounds alone for even a day, let alone the rest of your life. They're hypothetical wounds. Calm down. Well, isn't this a surprise? I never met a human with this much insight into the sorrows my kind can face. It's a good thing you sleep talk, then. I dare say I'd not have realized without it. All that from a few mumbled words. Very well, Elaine, I'll do as you ask. Might I make a request of you as well? What is it? Stay at my side, stand watch over my actions. That way I'll know for sure I'm not trying to shoulder everything alone. Be my greatest honor. Yeah! Definitely just a dream. Kitra! Ooh, Kitra actually has a ton. But we've actually done quite a few of these. So we will finish up with Miriam. Apparently. Those hot springs felt great, huh? Indeed they did. Had you not convinced me to join you, I surely wouldn't have feel this rejuvenated. My skin thanks you for it as well. I tend to grow cold rather easily, as you know, and this proved a wonderful way to combat the ever-present chill of Bastorius. You have my gratitude, Kitra. I'm just glad you let me talk you into it. Oh, and maybe next time we can bring Fran and the princess, too. That would be lovely, yes. Hey, Miriam. What seems to be the matter? Kind of starving after all that sitting around. Want to grab a bite in town before we head back to camp? I would, Kitra, yet I fear we've already made enough merriment for one day. But must you look at me with such displeasure? It would seem I have no choice. Very well, let us be off at once. You're the best, Miriam. I love how Kitra's just like, just wants to fucking hang out and smash things. It was some stew we had, huh? It was unlike any I've ever eaten, yes. Guess it's about time we head back to camp, though. I must say, Kitra. What is it? I've had a wonderful day with you, more wonderful than I can truly remember. It only goes to show there are few things in life more important than proper relaxation with a good friend. I've been trying to tell you, but I think you're always too strict to realize it. Perhaps so. On that note, you want to get some dessert before the walk back? The only way to really relax at the end of a long day, if you ask me. The only way? Are you suggesting that for my own benefit, or purely for your own? That's obvious, huh? Or that obvious, huh? As plain as the midday sun, Kitra. And they still get it. Absolutely. Ow! Press the button too soon. Press the button too soon, it catches you. We'll knock out Franz. Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? It's you. I heard you got into another fight, Kitra, and with more mercenaries, no less. Was hoping you wouldn't find out about that. What about your promise? You said you'd be careful with your words. You know what those mercenaries are calling you now? A rabid liberation dog. Well, if they weren't talking about me behind my back, that's not an excuse, and you know it. I think it's a great excuse. Kick their ass. Kick their ass. Do you know how much trouble you've already caused the Knights of the Rose? Most of the other orders want nothing to do with us now, likely in fear of what your hammer might do to them. Maybe if they keep their fucking mouths shut and respectful and my name out of it, it wouldn't be a fucking problem. Or if they could back up their shit talk. If they're gonna shit talk me and I step to them and they put me in my place, then there you go. But if they can't back it up, maybe they need to keep their fucking mouth shut. You keep doing you, Kitcher. Do not let Fran bully you into being more decorous. Mwah. Kisses, Otis. What? Oh, he's like, no, Papa. Who cares? All this etiquette stuff's never been my thing, and it never will be. Same goes for the princess, you know? This isn't about etiquette, Kitra. You just can't keep lashing out at even the slightest provocation. Say you make enemies with the wrong person and push them to do something drastic. They might even try and ambush you. What then? Isn't it obvious? I'd smack them into next week. And there's your problem, right there. Violence isn't always the answer. If you'd only learned that, maybe the rest of our army wouldn't turn and walk the other way when they see you coming. Do they really do that? Now it's time we start working on that self-restraint of yours. How are we gonna do that? Simple enough. Take a look at these. I had the mercenaries in our army write down all of their grievances with you. It only came out to 500 pages. You gotta be kidding me. What we're going to do is, I'll read out each complaint one by one, and you'll just have to stand there and figure out how to manage your emotions while I do. Hold on, Fran, I never agreed to this. What surprises await us, I wonder? Don't you dare. The first belongs to one of our archers, who's chosen to keep themselves anonymous. Kitra never helps sharpen the weapons, so we always have to do it instead. She has a hammer! Next is from a soldier who spends much of their time on cooking duty. Says it's anonymous, but I think you can guess who that is. It would be wonderful if Kitra could please stop eating 3 people's worth of food in one sitting. Okay. Alright. On Fran's side, if Kitra is just like a shitty roommate, yes, she needs to adapt and change her ways. On Kitra's side, if people are talking actual shit, not because she's deserved it or done something to deserve it, right? Then if people are just talking actual shit, yes, kick their ass. But it feels like this is more of a Kitra's a bad roommate kind of scenario. Patience, Kitra, we're only just getting started. Now the next is from an unnamed warrior who... Alright, I get it already. God... Not if there's 500 pages, I don't think. If there's 500 pages of that, fine, that's a problem. Kitra and Sharon. Game. Off you go. Is she smacking chickens? Across the river? Kitra, stop! You mustn't harm those poor animals. Just look at how safely they've landed on the other side. Don't worry, Sharon, I'm not hurting them. Just sit back and watch, yeah? But... Anyway, those chickens were just staring at the river when I got here. Almost like they were trying to find a way across. So I figured I'd help. A quick couple of smacks was a lot faster than trying to get them all over to a bridge. Quite the method, yes, but it appears to have been an effective one, if nothing else. I must say, I'm always surprised to see the power your slender frame is capable of producing. I can't imagine the harsh training you must have gone through to reach this point. I wouldn't call it training, really. I mostly just messed around when I was a kid. Smacking my friends with pillows or catching huge fish with my bare hands. No wonder I ended up going for the hammer after that. I mean, it's basically the same kind of stuff, just with metal now. My parents never came round to it, though. Kept trying to get me to ride a horse like a proper knight. Familiar struggle. But in my eyes, Kitra, you are every ounce the knight they wished you would become, and much more. Just hope they agree with you on that. I love the class that Kitra Morden, what's her name? Fuck, I can't remember her name. Kitra Morden Nina are, right? Like that whole class. I love it as a class in this style of game. Because it's not, they're, in games like Fire Emblem, you really rely on weapons to augment people to break through, like Armor Slayer or you know, Horse Slayer or those types of things, right? But in this, I love that the units are specialized against one another. I mean, obviously, those types of things do exist in a game like Fire Emblem, right? Like archers for flyers and magic for armor, that type of thing. And that still exists here, but it's ramped up to 11 here because everyone is matched up against someone. Normally multiple someones, and it's really cool. I do think this is probably the best gameplay game of this style. Like, I think this is a great modern representation of this genre. There you are, Osh. I need your help, fast. What think you're doing? Unhand my collar this instant. Uh-oh. All I need you to do is use your magic to melt this ice, okay? My pendant's stuck in there. I must have dropped it while I was walking around here last night. But by the time I realized this morning, it was already frozen solid. And why do you need me to help? I'm a powerful sorcerer, not a piece of charcoal willing to summon forth flames at your every convenience. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to get back to my studies. I have little enough respite as it is without your interruptions. Wait, please. That pendant is the only thing I have left from my mom, and Osh is triggered. What did you say? Yeah, I thought about just breaking the ice with my hammer, but I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I accidentally smashed the pendant too. Candle didn't do much against ice this thick either. That means magic's the only chance I've got. Fine, but just this once, you understand? Got it. Anyway, it's right over here. Oh, and try not to burn it or anything, okay? I would do no such thing. He's such a mama's boy. Thanks again, Osh. And just let me know if you ever want a hand with something. I'll come running anytime you need me. All I ask is that you take greater care of your mementos from now on. Oh. Berenice! Wait, Elaine and Nina? I already do Nina? Oh no, Nina's right up here. Okay. I was like, what? Yeah, that's correct. Kitra, Berenice. We really did get Nina and Kitra, like, right in the same space, didn't we? Getting some training in, Kitra? Can't pretend I'm surprised. You swing that hammer better than I could. Better than almost anyone could, really. Once you get going with it, only a fool would even think about standing in your way. Not to interrupt you, Berenice, but you're sounding an awful lot like my aunt right now. You're what? You know, like my mom's sister. I ended up living with her for a while after my parents died. They always used to tell me I should learn how to ride, you know, but this hammer was the only thing I've ever had eyes for. Whenever I started having second thoughts, my aunt was there to insist I made the right choice. Kinda like me, a bit rough around the edges, you know? Never turned down a chance to help me train either. Sounds like she and I would get along. I love Berenice's costume. Just hope she's okay out there. Sure she is. I bet she'd be thrilled to know you're getting even better with that hammer of yours. So, what do you say we have ourselves a little one-on-one? See what we can do. Berenice wins. I'd like that very much, Berenice. That's the spirit. Now come on. I'll have you stronger before you know it. Kitra, Elaine. I've already done most of those. Interesting. That's that taken care of. Now what's next? Ending your equipment, Kitra? Oh, hi, Prince. This is actually Fran and Miriam's stuff I'm fixing up. They've both been feeling kinda sick lately, so I'm just taking care of a few things for them while they get some rest. And I'm sure they do the same for me, too. Anyway, I'm hoping it'll all be done by the time they get out of bed in the morning. In that case, I would be glad to lend a hand. You, Prince? Is there a problem with that? Everything this army does is for my sake, so it's only fair I return the favor every now and then. Besides which, the work will go far quicker with two of us, will it not? Well, yeah, but you sure you've got the time for this? Be onshore. Simply tell me where to start and it shall be done. Maybe you could start by feeding Fran's griffin then. I'm going to stay here and finish patching up the saddle for now. I would be glad to. Best of luck in your task, Kitra. I hadn't expected a simple meal to prove so bothersome, yet at last the deed is done. Sorry, I should have warned you, but she was such a big eater. And look at that, just a couple of hours, we're all finished. It was truly you doing most of the work, though. Fran and Miriam are lucky indeed to have a friend as kind and thoughtful as you. You really think so? Guess that means we'll just have to help him out again sometime. I don't know if that'll... Okay, that was not a relationship one. Orden! Good ol' hammer friends. Mighty fine statue they've got here. Orden, I didn't think you'd be into this kind of stuff. I'm not really. I don't have much eye for art or aesthetics. I was just admiring the quality of the stone is all. Huh. Same as any other statue to me. Figured it would, yeah. But the only reason it's held up this well is because of the material it was built out of. You can tell that just from looking at it? Yup. Used to be a stonemason myself, you know. One good glance and you start noticing little differences. The texture, color, that kind of thing. At least once the paint's all worn off like this. Uh-huh. So what kind of stone did they use for this? Alcedony. That's a real thing. As far as I can tell. Although I don't know that's how you pronounce that. I've only ever read that word. I don't think I've ever actually heard it. Oh. Odd Inspector. Oh, or am I thinking of chalcedony? That's a gemstone.
Chalcedony.
Chalcedony. So if that's...
Chalcedony.
I'm assuming this would be Alcedony. Interesting. Interesting! You mine some of the stuff over in Albion and it'll last centuries, or so they say. Must have been tough carving it all up all detailed like this. Guess there's more to the craft than I realized. Now I've got to wonder, what about my old hammer? That would have been coarse-side if I'm remembering right. A little on the softer side and pretty easy to work with too. That's why you see it in all sorts of buildings and everyday tools. You sure know a lot about this stuff, Morden. Especially for an old drunk. Really have to put it like that? I mean, just own it, Morden. You are kind of an old drunk. And that's okay. My friend, that's okay. Ugh. Interesting that they have a briefer. Wow, your belly is so big. Hey, that tickles. Kids, time to go. Oh man, come play with us again, Uncle Morden. Like you even have to ask. I'll be back before you know it. Oh, you old drunk. What do you think you're doing? It's giving this old wine barrel a little nudge. Got some nerve, girl. Hey, why are you so big anyway? Probably because of all the drinking, right? None of your damn business. Guess not, huh? But too much booze will make you sick, you know? Yeah, preach all you want. I'm not giving it up. I'm not telling you to. Just maybe think about cutting back. I mean, imagine how all those kids will feel if their Uncle Morden drinks himself to an early grave. Anyway, take care of yourself, okay? Suppose I wouldn't mind easing up for them. Oh, oh, wow. I think I'll have a drink. To Morden. And there, that should do it. What are you up to, Kitra? Just helping the town out with a little favor. They needed a hand fixing the bridge, so did it yourself instead of coming to me. Let's see here. No, this is actually some pretty fine work. Guess I don't need your help after all, huh? One day, back when I was a kid, I got asked to fix a door for one of my neighbors. I still remember how good it felt finishing the job and getting complimented for it, of course. So I kept chasing that feeling, learned as much as I could, and helped out fixing things whenever I had the chance. Makes sense to me. And sure, there's nothing quite like breaking a couple of enemy bones in battle. But working on this bridge helped remind me just how much I like building stuff, too. Turns out we're more similar than I thought. Huh? Your work's good, Kitra. At least for someone who's just getting started. But good isn't gonna cut it when you've got people crossing this bridge every damn day. If you want a couple of pointers, though, I'll be glad to teach you a thing or two you can improve on. You really mean that? I was thinking I could use another pair of eyes on this thing. I'm sure it'll be perfect by the time you're done showing me the ropes. To see you're excited about it. Now look here. If you want a stronger foundation, all you gotta do is this. Swing hammer. That was a fun one. I enjoyed their little conversation set. Miriam and Fran. Goats! Are you alright, Miriam? Why wouldn't I be? I heard you got hurt out on patrol and had to be rushed to the healer. Oh, that? It was merely grazed by a stray arrow. Nothing to worry about, I assure you. Thank the Father. In any case, I only have my own recklessness to blame, such as my punishment for pressing too far into enemy territory. It's funny, you're normally so composed, but then you go and do something rash like this. Don't need to risk your life for a little scouting, though. That's why I'm here. We're right. Forgive me for worrying you, friend. All the same, I wish to be of foremost use to our army. And you are. You're awesome. If I fail in tasks as simple as this, how shall I ever earn my family the glory my father expects? Glory truly all he cares about? What about you? Your life, your safety, your happiness? If fame matters more to him than you, then he barely has the right to call himself your father. You've said quite enough, Fran. My father's demands stem only from the regret he bears for swearing fealty to Zenoira, a matter in which he had little choice. Sorry. I just worry about you, Miriam. And seeing you hurt like this makes me afraid that one day you might not come back to me. Thank you for saying so. Yet I've realized something observing you and our princess and so many others. Hard as they may try, I shall never be a warrior of your innate talent. But before I was born, my father's greatest wish was for a son to carry on his legacy. He sired me instead, which is precisely why I greet every task with the diligence of 100 men. It may not always bring the results I wish for, but it's the only thing I have. The one way I'll prove that I deserve to exist at all, both to my father and to myself. Has anyone ever told you to lighten up, Miriam? Though I will say I really admire how serious you are about this stuff. Exactly the kind of good influence Kitra and I need. In a way, you're almost like the sister neither of us ever had. I'm glad to hear you say that. Although Kitra claimed me to be more of a nagging mother than anything. That's our Kitra, always the charmer. That does sound like Kitra. Wait, hey, why are my ears burning? Love it. Love it. Nobody better be saying anything bad about me, or else she's gonna hit him. Good. Miriam and Joseph, actually. Interesting. Oh, dear boy. I pray you might forgive me, Sir Joseph, for my actions in the battle which took place here. It is a blessing indeed that we kept the princess from any serious harm. Yet all matters considered, I should never have let her take flight to begin with. At ease, Miriam. In such a state, none could have possibly hoped to stop her. Hey, how's it going, Tiff?
More wine.
More wine! Thank you very much for the bits. Belly pets. On the contrary, I owe you a debt of gratitude for standing as her shield when few others would bear such courage. Even still, I struggle to come to terms with the hardship I caused our army. It must surely have been a difficult decision to make. That was a really fun battle, actually. Duty compelled you to hinder Princess Virginia's march, yet you yourself wished for nothing more to see Gaith, I think is what it was, slain, to finally have vengeance for his cruel decimation of your order. You have the right of it, yes. I was but a squire myself when the princess fled our castle 10 years past. Thus, I could only watch as my fellow knights rode off in her defense. I can still remember what our captain told me at the time. For as long as our hearts beat in our chests, the Knights of the Rose shall ever bleed for the princess. It was only after she left that I realized the intent behind those words. They were always ready to lay down their lives for the sake of their duty. So they did. Yet even now I'm certain their spirits journey on at the princess's side. In sooth, the events of our battle here come as something of a relief. Not only did I fulfill my duty as a Knight of the Rose, but we struck Gaith down and avenged my fallen sisters in the process. Such a choice may not have been the wisest decision, yet I'm certain beyond all doubt that it was the best one. For you, Virginia, and for your captain. Queen Elenia surely looks upon you with great pride. Thank you, Sir Joseph. That really was a fun fight. I remember that one. Whoa! Selvi! That's a bit of an odd pairing. So I see. How truly wonderful. Pardon the question, Miriam, but who exactly are you speaking to? There doesn't seem to be anyone else here except the spirits of the dead. Please, 'tis nothing as fanciful as that. I was merely conversing with my loyal steed. You mean to imply you speak the tongues of beasts? Not directly, no. It's more of a vague understanding I've acquired from her various sounds and behaviors. Yet I'm certain she's pleased to hear my voice. You know, a similar phenomenon exists with flowers, Selvi. If you simply extol their beauty every now and then, they shall grow more vibrant than you could ever imagine, far beyond what's possible with water alone. On the other hand, speaking ill of them shall cause them to wilt and wallow in despair. Fascinating. I thought such effects only applied to human children. I admit I haven't actually attempted it myself, but the same is sure to be true of my faithful steed here. Hence, I always address her with all the warmth and kindness I can muster. Yeah, the human children comment was funny. She does seem to be rather enamored with you, yes. I wonder if flattering a patch of ruins would produce similar results. I doubt it. Perhaps you could slow their deterioration or even unearth an ancient artifact with relative ease. Yes, I'll have to test this theory at my soonest convenience. That was a weird one. That was a weird conversation. I could do with less weird conversations and more robust conversations. Alright, Elaine and Miriam. Let's see how this goes. Might I request an audience for a moment, Your Highness? But of course, what is it, Miriam? Well, I was merely wondering how you regard my work compared to that of the rest of our army. There's a surprising level of incertitude coming from you. Yet you needn't assess yourself by the feats of others. Everyone has their own natural strengths, and you are no different. Is there a reason you seek such an answer? Forgive my folly, Your Highness. I know well that our army's only aim in this war is to vanquish Noira and restore this kingdom to its proper rulers. 'Tis the same conclusion I seek myself as well. But I received a letter from my father this morning stating the importance of distinguishing my deeds from those of my peers. I suppose he's purely fixated on what plaudit our house shall receive upon the end of this war. Recognition from the crown would prove a boon to any noble family, yes. It is a strange contradiction, is it not? Under normal circumstances, a knight is meant to protect their people. Yet in times of strife, we are judged almost wholly on how many enemies we are able to slaughter. It is a thought I very much despise, in sooth. But it is also a necessary one, should we ever wish to bring peace to these afflicted lands. You needn't dwell on such upsetting notions, Miriam. What matters now is the work you do is of great benefit, both to the liberation and to myself. And to my eye, you've already achieved the very distinction your father wishes for. I thank you for the generous words, Your Highness. Does that fall under maintenance? Talking to the ruins? I mean, maybe. You know? I could see that. Being, like, real nice and telling the ruins how good they looked that morning and how pretty they are. How good of a boy they are. Good boy. Have you received some manner of good news, Miriam? Your Highness, nothing in particular, no. Why do you ask? Haven't you noticed? It seems you've been smiling more often lately. Well, perhaps my disposition has changed to a degree. Your kind words when last we spoke, my further interactions with the rest of our army helped me to realize something. While I haven't consciously meant to do so, I've often hid who I truly am. Have you now? My entire life I've lacked confidence in my ability, a trait I most likely inherited from my mother. I've always feared what those around me may think, none more so than my father, of course. Yet rather than confront those fears, I chose to flee from them, to feign the austerity I felt was necessary. I no longer want to run, Your Highness. I wish to be true to the emotions I feel, no matter when or how I may feel them. And I wish to do so because of you. Hence the smile from earlier. You were simply expressing the joy you found in such a life. Yes, perhaps you're right. Though I may still struggle at times to open up completely, Your Highness, I'm certain it will only grow easier in the days and months to come. And I look forward to seeing what other new expressions await me when it does. You do? But to be frank with you, I hadn't thought my mood was quite so easy to read. It's not, actually. I believe I only noticed it in the first place because of how often I find my gaze fixed upon you. Your Highness, Is there a problem, Miriam? Not at all. I think nothing of it. Oh, blushy. Oh! Do you not grasp how embarrassing this is? Be told my appearance is the object of your attention. Forgive me. I didn't intend to startle you. It's all right. On the contrary, I'm delighted to know you care so deeply for me. And I fully plan to carry that joy for all to see. That's gotta be, it was only a dream. Hey, Roof, you're awesome. Please don't leak, right? You know what? Maybe it's that whole, like, the secret thing. You get back what you put out. You know, if every day you're like, oh, Roof, you're doing such a good job. I know you've been having a rough time and you got a little leak going on, but you know, like, it's just a little leak and everything else you're doing so good on. You haven't fallen in, you're not like cracking. Good job, Roof. And then the leak just suddenly goes away. Never know. It's Nina time! Nina and Yana. I did Yana and Joseph. That was unintentional. I had always believed you made it out alive, but it's still a shock to see you actually standing here in the flesh. And a personal advisor to the prince, no less. It has been far too long, Lady Yana. Why the formality, Joseph? Is it uncomfortable having an ally who you knew when you were just a child? It is indeed, especially given the endless trouble my younger self made for you. I remember it well, even after all these years. And every time I scolded you for acting out, you'd turn around and do something worse the next day. Like the time you hung jars from transparent strings to make it seem like a sorcerer had invaded the castle. Or the time you hid in one of the suits of armor which lined the halls so you could jump out and scare me as I walked by. This was all before you become a squire, of course. Even still. Between you and Hodrick, we had no shortage of troublemakers roaming the castle during King Gerard's reign. But if nothing else, at least the two of you kept things interesting. It is a relief to hear you say so, yet I must ask that you never speak a word of these matters to anyone else. Don't worry, Joseph. I'll take these stories with me to my grave. Though it's funny to think about. All that mischief you used to get into, yet here you are having to raise the prince into a respectable young man. I deserve no credit, Yana. Such character is in his very nature, and any other growth owes to the friends he made while living on Palevia. So you say, but mere friends can never replace the father figure you've been to him. Or the time you've spent bringing joy back into that lonely child's life. Aw, that's nice. Gotta be over here. No! Where is it? Gotta be down here. Oh, there's a thing. I missed a thing. I'm sure. There's so much stuff in this game. Yana, who are you speaking to just now? Oh, merely one of the swamp's resident crows. You converse with crows? What kind of witch would I be if I couldn't? Communing with animals is one of the first things we learn how to do. Sorry, just a little joke. It was actually an acquaintance from the village who's transformed into a crow. And I can't talk to horses or griffins either, in case you were wondering. Yes, that would have been rather surprising. But I have to wonder, why did that witch decide to turn herself into a bird? For the mobility, according to her. That and the desire to change who she was. It's all too common here in the swamp. Many of my apprentices have left to start new lives as different animals entirely. And while there's nothing wrong with doing so per se, I find it all a bit of a shame. Only one of you exists in this world, and I can't see the reason for wanting to discard that. Haven't you ever wished to become someone else, Yana? In a sense, I suppose. Years ago, I wished to grow into a powerful sorceress just like my old master was. But that didn't mean I wanted to be her. Such dreams only become reality through the inner strength you bear deep within. And once you've achieved them, you can take pride in knowing it was your effort which got you there, and yours alone. I mean, if I go through the effort of turning myself into a bird because I want to become a bird, I can be proud of doing that. Just saying. It's actually why I joined the Liberation to begin with, to find the dream I was willing to pursue. So while the journey ahead might yet be long, I'm proud of myself for even taking the first step. As you should be. Nina and Elaine. What are you chirping for in your sleep, boy? Wait, no! Uh-oh. Everything all right, Nina? Are you in danger? I'm okay, I think. My omelet assuredly isn't. A small piece of eggshell fell into the pan while I was cooking, and I grew so flustered that I dropped the entire thing on the floor. Which explains the cacophony I heard as I was rushing over. Rather an artful mistake, I must say. There was nothing artful about it, though now that I think about it, perhaps the curse I put on you has come back to haunt me instead. Ah, yes, the hope that I would be plagued by failed omelets for the rest of my life. I recall you uttered quite the insult as well. I'm sorry for it. It's not how I want to live, nor how I wish to treat my allies. You know, Nina, I've heard a piece of eggshell every now and then can provide ample nutritional benefit. Everything seems to have remained safely in the pan as well, perfectly unharmed despite its abrupt introduction to the floor. But you see, there's nothing to be upset about, not in the slightest. I appreciate you saying so, Your Majesty. You're right, I can still salvage this meal yet. That's precisely what I plan to do. Thank you for helping me pull myself back together. There's nothing at all. Now, if you need any of a hand, I know an idle young prince who may be willing to lend his aid. Truly do that for me? What, getting the egg out of the pan? But of course, after such a fine opening act, I wouldn't dare miss the conclusion for all the world. Put it like that, I expect it might be nice to have a bit of company. Let's begin at once. Yes, Your Highness. Though first, I'm sorry for putting that curse on you. Pay no mind, Nina. The only matter I've time for now is watching a master chef conduct her work. On an egg that's already cooked. What? And be prepared to be amazed, my loyal assistant. I guess maybe the egg isn't cooked. That was a weird conversation. Also, crack your eggs into a bowl or a Tupperware or a ramekin or something like that, so that if there is a shell in them, you can get it out before it goes in the pan. Also, don't crack your shells on edges, crack them on a flat surface. And then you most of the time will not get shells. Science. Or physics, I guess, in that case. Physics, science, science, physics, whatever. Elaine and Nina! Hold a moment, please. I need a second to catch my breath. Well, perhaps you wouldn't if you weren't were actually helping instead of laughing at me. Who knew it was this difficult to properly fold an omelet? Still, I'll not give up yet. Forgive me, Nina. I don't mean to poke fun at your misfortunes, especially when I'm not even certain I can succeed at the art myself. Perhaps I should attempt it before I speak any further, Yes, you can laugh all you want once you prove you can actually do it. As you wish, one perfect fold, right away. It seems that every time I hope to focus, memories of your past failures come flooding into my mind. Broke it. Shows your right to tease me, Your Highness. Indeed, and your laughter at my expense is, alas, well earned. Present troubles aside, Nina, it's rather incredible how quickly your skills have developed. There's not a shard of eggshell anywhere to be seen, nor has our food been cast to the ground in frustration. Soon enough, the plight of your initial endeavor shall be but a distant memory. No doubt, because I have a marvelous assistant observing my every move. This is such a weird, set of conversations. How long does he plan to look after me, I wonder? What was that, Nina? Nothing important. Now then, for the finishing touch. A portrait of you, my prince, drawn entirely in sauce. That's a weird one. That's a romance conversation? That's a weird one. That's a strange one. That's an odd one. Ugh, Selvi has so many left. But most of hers are just ones, so not actually that much conversation. Selvi and Bruno. Evening, Selvi. What are you thinking about over there? Oh, simply wishing I could find my way inside these ruins. But alas, this incessant rubble seems determined to bar my path. What, and that's it? Let me try helping. Whack! Just gotta move a few things and done! Muscle man, if you want to pay me back, a nice bottle of ale will do just... Sorry, what are you staring at me like that for? I should think it obvious. I've never had the chance to study such a physique up close before. The beauty of your form has me rather entranced, frankly. Giggity. Well, thanks. This is what you get when you put in years of hard work. According to the tomes I've read on human anatomy, I'm particularly drawn to the shape of your trapezius, I believe it's called. Though the contours of your external oblique and infraspinatus? I did not do great in anatomy. Muscles are quite fetching as well. You say so. But nothing compares to your sturdy flexor carpi radialis. My god. Why, I can feel my scientific interest piqued just looking at it. Weren't you gonna go studying these ruins or something? Ah, yes, I fear I grew a little distracted for a moment there. Sure did. Well, let's get talking about a reward, yeah? Wait, Bruno. I'm not. Just moved in the most perfect harmony. You know what? Forget the reward. I'm out of here. She scared him away with science. I know that one. Truly a fascinating specimen. I mean, you should have just taken him into the ruins and given him a reward. If you're gonna go that far, might as well just give him the reward. Selvi and Joseph. Notice you're snoring over there. A word, Selvi. Why is it you always arrive late to muster? Such tardiness impacts not only yourself, but the lasting morale of our entire army. Because there's only so much time I have for my work, and I rather don't enjoy being pulled away from it. I'll not fault your dedication to this research. Yet while you march as a member of the Liberation Army, you've no choice but to follow His Highness's every order. I suppose so, yes, and I can't deny how much he's done for me. I'll try to improve for his sake. See that you do more than try. As you well know, there are few amongst our ranks who can rival your immense ability with curses. In fact, I often hear the other soldiers singing your praises for the contributions you impart in battle. Do you now? I didn't know they felt that way about me. At times, I've even wondered if my lack of offensive magic was a burden to them. I assure you, you've no need to worry. Each of us has our own strengths and weaknesses, Selvi. And I, for one, put great stock in your strengths. If only you would do the same. Thank you for saying so, Joseph. All I ask in return is that you perform your duties with the utmost care. Speaking of which, I trust you've not forgotten our upcoming battle. Of course not. I could never. Somehow I struggle to believe you, but very well. Let us depart together. Uh-oh. She got in trouble. Selvi and Osh. That makes sense. Ah, the scholar Osh, who once oversaw these ruins. And you're Selvi, yes? Indeed, a simple nomad in the pursuit of a knowledge, same as you. Again, another thing that I think would be really cool is if we saw Selvi, as a wanderer. Other ruins, other places. Right, because Zenoira came from a different location, so what if Selvi's quest took her from studying all the ruins on Fevrith that were related to Zenoira, and then taking a thread to a different location where Zenoira was originally from, right? I've heard some rather interesting tales from those who worked under your command. They claimed you were desperate for your mother's approval, that she was the only reason you ever took interest in ancient history to begin with. There's something wrong with that? Not at all, the opposite, in fact. You see, I tend to grow so absorbed in my studies that I often neglect the world around me, friends, family, everything. So I was hoping you might teach me. Show me what it means to care for something beyond your own self-interest. I'm not sure I'm qualified for that. I only ask one thing, Osh. Speak to me about your mother. If I can better understand how you truly feel about her, perhaps I can learn to take advantage of such emotions myself. Strange. Most people simply grimace and walk off at my first mention of her. They certainly never ask to know more. Fascinating. Why is that, I wonder? I couldn't say, but I don't mind talking about her if that's what you want. Under one condition. You have to listen to every word of it, no leaving partway through. I think I'll be able to manage that. Oh, Selvi. You done fucked up. You stand there for the next 3 days and 3 nights. This one? It's Lex and Selvi. There we go. Another day, another patch of ruins, huh, Selvi? That's correct. Fevrith is home to countless sites of great archaeological interest, as you well know, and it's only through careful, diligent study that we can unearth their secrets. The context of their creation, the history of these lands, even the customs and rituals of bygone civilizations. You can seriously get all that from a pile of rubble? Well, not exactly. Many of these revelations live within the realm of pure speculation. It's not as though I can truly peer into the past, after all. Makes sense, I guess. Hey, you ever wonder if some of these people built this stuff just because they wanted a nice view? That's what I'd do if I were them. You mean for aesthetics rather than functionality? I suppose I hadn't considered that. Such a simple hypothesis, yet I find it difficult to refute its conclusion. Selvi? Perhaps this wooden doll is no ritual implement, but a mere child's plaything. Really? We weren't considering that to begin with? And what I thought to be magic ruins on this wall were simply the idle scrawlings of an unburdened youth. Yeah, very probably. Snap out of it, Selvi. Ah, apologies. I seem to have grown lost in concentration. You know, I'm not sure it's safe for you to be out here by yourself. How about I stick around and watch your back, let you focus on your history business in peace? You would truly do that for me. Or would, as long as you tell me about all the stuff you find. Oh. I mean, pretty cool. I'd take that deal. On either side, really. Selvi and Elaine. Down south? Elaine and Selvi. Yes, it is. I've come to understand you heard a voice from the heavens, Elaine. At the sanctuary back in Cornea, yes. Interesting. But why were you able to receive its tidings, I wonder? An anatomical peculiarity of your royal bloodline, perhaps. Yeah, actually. Ah, if only I had the educational background to say for certain. Still, whatever the answer may be, I find myself utterly captivated. Staring at me rather intently, Selby. Ah, my apologies. Seems there's truly no end to the depths of your curiosity. Have you any particular reason for that? Well, if you wish to create the ideal future, you must first understand the failings of history. That's what my father always used to say to me. And though my ambitions aren't quite as lofty as his were, I find there to be few things in this world more compelling than the mysteries of our past. It is a respectable saying indeed. My mother often spoke in a similar way of the inherent value in studying the chronicles of centuries gone. Please, Elaine, it's just an old proverb. You shouldn't read too much into it. Really fucking tucked away in here. Selby? Worry not, I'll have you out of there in but a moment. Ah, thank you, my prince. Did she get herself fucking stuck? It's a relief to see you unharmed, Selby, but I must ask, how did you come to be trapped beneath all that rubble? Well, you see, one moment I was in the midst of a peaceful investigation, and the next I found myself beset by spirits of the dead. The same phantom soldiers we've encountered elsewhere, I presume. It was precisely what I thought at first, but I soon realized they were actually the ghosts of deceased children and house pets. What? What? How somber a discovery. There's no sigil in the region either, so it couldn't have been magic which manifested them. And given the household items I came across in my excavations, I can only assume there used to be a settlement here. Anyway, I believe the ghosts were trying to play a prank on me and accidentally brought the ruins crashing down in the process. They must have been awfully startled by all that noise because they quickly fled the area, likely off to some spectral plane beyond our comprehension. Not so certain about that. Before I found you, I heard a young voice calling out to me from this direction. Perhaps it was one of the children urging me to come to your aid. Spirits, you can hear me out there and know that I am entirely unharmed thanks to you. But also was almost harmed thanks to you, and that I plan to further my research into these lands in hopes of learning more about the people you once were. I will forever be grateful for what you've done here today. But a little miffed because of what you've done here today. Speaking of research, Selby, perhaps you shouldn't be doing it all alone any longer. You may not be so lucky next time. A valid point, yes, and thank you again for taking me out of that rubble. It was nothing at all. I'm merely pleased to know you're safe. And he's gonna help her out next time. I wonder if she'll be a love interest. There's definitely, like, a little bit of connection there. These sigils provide us quite the boon through our instructive battles with the phantom soldiers within. I'm glad to hear it, and yet, there's something on your mind, Selby. Yes, in fact there is. Due to the fluid nature of the Liberation's work, we rarely stay in one location for very long. Thus, my research always tends to feel far more rushed than I would prefer. An understandable concern, yes. Even I know that surveys such as yours require more than an afternoon or two to carry out. I suppose that means we've no choice but to part ways. It's not what I'm saying at all. Forgive me, Selby, it was merely a joke. I couldn't envision pressing on without you at our side. When next you tell a joke, try to make it funny, My life would be a great deal more difficult alone, not only with the sigils themselves, but even simply traveling between them. Given my contributions in battle, I feel our arrangement is mutually beneficial. As do I. Though on that matter, I often do have trouble asking an academic to risk her life in combat. You shouldn't. Field research requires a certain level of physical prowess, one of which I honed over years of solitary wandering. I remember you were by yourself when we first met as well. I take it you prefer to work alone. No, actually. I made a point to hire mercenaries at every new site. For some reason, they always ended up running away. I had a position in your royal court, Elaine. I could bury myself in research day after day without a care for money, for guards, or even for time itself. A wonderful idea, Sylvie, and a fitting reward for all the fine work you've done for this army. All you need do is be patient. For now, that dream shall be yours once Cornea is restored. Well, as it so happens, that was meant to be a joke of my own, but the offer is an alluring one. Then for the sake of your research, let us double our efforts in bringing this war to a close as soon as possible. Yeah, that doesn't feel like a dream one. That's a honest to goodness one. Bran! All done except for Elaine. That's what we like to see. Ooh, down here. Gotta be, right? Rolf and Morden. Chloe Hodrick. Oop. Oh, over here. Yeah, because there's no thing over on the side. Is everyone in your family able to ride griffins, Fran? Just me, actually. Though my house has historically been known for such feats. It's tradition that any girl who's born into the family seeks to join the Knights of the Rose. But ultimately, the Order will only take the best griffin riders we have to offer. So every couple of years, the house holds a trial to determine who that is. A test of skill to prove yourselves ready. Is an intriguing method indeed. It is. My cousins and I all took ours together a while back, but it turned out I was the only suitable candidate, because the others all failed to command their griffins. Yes, one of my cousins ended up crashing into a tree, severely injuring herself in the process. Another let their griffin run loose through our manor, tearing apart room by room as it went. Could barely call it a proper trial at all. No, I suppose not. To be honest, I didn't even ride particularly well myself. I was only deemed the best in our house by virtue of not being as horrible as everyone else. Well, you're riding griffins, so that kind of makes sense. But I knew the shame it would bring our family if I failed to gain admission into the Knights of the Rose. So I trained tirelessly day after day until I was able to prove my merit and join the Order in true. It is surely that dedication which sees you thriving now for the liberation as well. I'm not sure thriving is the best word. I appreciate you saying so, even if it's not entirely true. I don't know. You're kind of like one of those characters that actually shows the fuck back up later on in things. If for no other reason than every time it's like, we're gonna go scout an area, it's either Fran or Travis, and usually Fran. And that was Clive and Joseph. Damn it. Damn it! Even know who you're talking to, kid? I'm working for the Liberation, and I'm not paying a single damn gold. But, sir, quite the conversation you're having here. Yeah? And who the hell are you? Soldiers of the Liberation in earnest, unlike yourself. Oh, well, you see, I was just kidding around about that. Pretty funny, right? Oh, I like how she was like, excuse me, and walked at him. A fine tavern that was. The wine up here in northeast Cornea is simply to die for, wouldn't you say? Perhaps, if I was able to hold my liquor better, yet I fear age has begun to get the better of me. I don't believe that for a moment. Still, it's been some time since we last shared a drink like this. Do you remember our previous occasions, Sir Joseph? Of course. Practically drank the entire tavern dry and grew rather unruly as a result. 'Tis an embarrassing memory, yes. I was still young at the time, just after Cornea had fallen in true. For countless days I awaited orders to commence the final assault against Zenoira. Yet such orders never came. Before I could even realize what was happening, my province had been conquered. The nobles of our land each bent the knee to Zenoira, one after the next. It was peace, or so it seemed. Yet I knew it was little more than fragile artifice. Even so, it wasn't long until the rest of my order swore fealty to Galerius. Such an outcome came as a shock, of course. But I realized then that I could no longer trust those I once cherished. All the while, my mind was flooded with thoughts of the fallen. Did their sacrifice mean nothing? Despair haunted my every action, and my only comfort lay in flagons of ale and drunken fights. I had become an empty shell of my former self. And I even attempted to pick a fight with you, if memory serves correct. You did, though it was obvious you had drunk far more than you were capable of handling. I suppose it's fate, in a way. We never would have met if not for that quarrel. It wasn't much of a fight, of course. You knocked me flat into the wall, and in so doing returned me to my senses. At the time, I was scouring Febrith for support of a resistance which may never have come to pass, careful to avoid the watchful gaze of Zenoira all the while. If I may, Clive, the feats you performed in our service were far beyond those of a misguided drunk. Yet appearing as such enabled me to compel change without once raising Zenoiran's suspicions. I suppose it worked to my benefit in the end, both in my actions and in my finding a mentor as unfailing as you. Though I imagine it wasn't entirely straightforward. I stood a wanted man, after all. Indeed, you may not have realized it at the time, but it wasn't your grand vision which convinced me to enlist. I merely needed something to do, a reason to act, a way to forget. All the better if I could avenge the deaths of my companions in doing so. And, of course, reach a fitting end for my own life as well. I see. In any case, the shadows which once engulfed you have long since lifted, though I presume your fiancée worries for you even now. She certainly did back then, you know. Feels as though it was a lifetime past that my family arranged for Monica and I to be married. I'm not certain you're aware of this, but she and I have known each other since we were but children. Despite my being older than her, she always treated me as if I was years her junior. Never was fond of that. But to know she once thought of me, she still does to this day. Callous fool I was. Perhaps an apology is in order then. You mean after all these years? I couldn't bear the thought. I'll not hear another word. Do it. And bring her a gift as well. Simply tell her everything you just told me. She will be all right. Yes, I suppose so. Whatever shall I say to her? What utterance could possibly allay the grief I've imposed upon her? Troubles of youth. I'm certain you can come up with something, Clive. See, that was a meaningful conversation. And the game could use more of those. The game could use more of those. Honestly. The game could use more of those. Game could use more of those. Really could use more of those. Oh! The rapport system, after having spent so much time in it, going through the motions of actually getting everyone's rapport up, going through the motions of going through all these conversations, etc., and thinking about it and experiencing things, I think the rapport system is probably one of the less good portions of this game. This game has a lot going for it, a lot of really good stuff going for it. But I think the rapport conversations are part of where it is lacking. And it's not because they're bad conceptually. It's because I think they're too broad. Too many characters, not enough time to really flesh out meaningful conversations. This insistence, like looking at this, right? Like looking through. Selvi has 1 3-part conversation, and then 6 single conversations. Nina, 1 3-part conversation, 1 2-part conversation, 3 3-part conversations. Miriam, 3 2-part conversations, 4 1-part conversations. Cut a good portion of these 1-part conversations. Boil it down to 3 or 4 characters that they have conversations with each. Reduce the overall number of characters in the game from 60 to 50, right? Cut some of those throwaway characters. And then really build. Selvi has whoever you pick, right? Elaine, Lex, Osh seem like good ones there, right? Because those were interesting portions, and really build in each of those conversations. Full threes, if not fours, but you could do threes and just make each of those conversations meaningful, robust, world building, character growth, etc. And then the other thing is the way the rapport system works again, tie it to meaningful benefits, not just, behind the scenes passives. Give items for it. Items, I think, is the easiest thing to do. Give not for every conversation, obviously, but like each person has a final tier conversation or something like that that nets them a unique item intended for them, right? And it doesn't even have to be like the best item on the face of the planet for them, just something that is meaningful for them, right? And then the other thing is cut out this whole like Fire Emblem having to build. Okay, I say that. If you're gonna tie it to a location, make it available as soon as the location's available. Don't have to build it up, because you've got too many characters to guarantee this concept of having the right character with the right relationship, blah, 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 blah. Either have it not be tied to a location, and that way you can pick and choose your characters, or when it's tied to a location, have it available immediately upon unlocking that location, right? That way, because, right, like a lot of these things are so disjointed from the areas we're in, but if we had... Was that? That was the last conversation with Clyde. Okay, so... doing something like that allows you to pace these rapport conversations to where they seem like they are happening at meaningful times rather than just whenever the player gets around to them, if that makes sense. And that builds the story more. It really does. Fran and Elaine. Sorry, I go up on my tangents. Y'all know me. But it's because like the system has promise. This game is a fantastic game. But this is one of the parts of the game that I think is less than what it could be. And I would love to see I would love to see a sequel to this game, and I would love to see them take the issues with the rapport system and refine them and make them more meaningful and interesting. Less like that old Fire Emblem bullshit where it's just like, oh, these are throwaway conversations, and they feel cheap or cheesy or silly most of the time, right? Might I ask you a favor, Fran? Anything, Your Highness. What can I help you with? Well, if it's all right with you, I wish to ride your griffin. But that would be far too dangerous. Would it now? I can't say I expected such a deafening refusal. I'm sorry, Your Highness, but you lack the training for such a request. And I worry my griffin here would just throw you off if you tried. Yes. Yet the fact of the matter is I've dreamt of soaring through the sky ever since I was a child. I had hoped that riding with you would at last allow me to do so. But it appears I was gravely mistaken. Hold on a minute, you were suggesting we go together? But of course. I could hardly presume myself capable of taming a beast of war alone. In that case, I think it should be okay. Do you truly mean that? I do, but you have to promise you'll hold tight to my waist. I wouldn't want you falling to your death on account of me, after all. I would assume that, like, you're strapped in if you're flying a griffin, I would assume that there's, like, a harness. Then I'll do just as you say, and thank you, Fran. And it would realistically, as long as griffins could actually bear the weight, it would totally make sense to have two-person teams, because you have the, like, rider, the actual, like, navigator, and then you put a fucking bow on that person. Or on the fucking second person. Like, absolutely. What did you think, Your Highness? It was truly unlike anything I could have ever imagined, in the best possible way, that is. I didn't expect the wind rushing across my face to feel quite so different to how it does on the ground. I'm just glad you actually enjoyed it. How could I not? In any event, I should be going now. Do tell your griffin I say thank you as well for granting an unknown passenger such a wonderful voyage. I would have fainted if he held on to me any tighter. What a dream? Oh, come on. That wasn't bad enough to warrant it being a dream. Oh, Adel's got a couple. All right, we'll do the singulars. I mean, it's got to be this one, right? Rolf and Adel. Here, Adel, this is for you. A gift from the town we passed through earlier. Not sure what I've done to deserve this, Rolf. Don't you remember? You helped me yesterday during the battle. Well, I did pull you to your feet after you'd fallen over, but just about anyone would do the same. And only you actually did it. Anyway, I should be going. Wait, Damn. I have something for you, Adel. Again? Don't tell me this is for returning your coin purse after you dropped it. If it is, I won't accept. That was a common courtesy, Rolf, and nothing more. Maybe so, but a debt is a debt, no matter how small. Answer me this, then. Is there a reason for all this stubbornness? It was something my mom said the day she died. I was still young at the time, but I remember what she told me clear as day. The worst thing you can do in life is not return a favor. She never got the chance to teach me many lessons, so I try to take the ones she did teach me as seriously as possible. Well, I won't begrudge you that wish, but can't you express the same emotion with a simple thank you? To be perfectly honest with you, I've never known if words would be enough. So you wanted to make sure you made your point. I get that. But don't worry, Rolf. More than shown just how appreciative you are. Good to hear. Thank you again, Adel. Please, any more gratitude and I think I might blush. That's nice. But it could be more, right? Like, they could have a 3-part conversation where they become full-on fucking war buddies. And that would be dope. Right? Like, helping each other out in the middle of battles. That would be another thing. Actually putting rapport in the middle of battles would be really fucking cool. Like, little checkpoints that if you go over to them, you can trigger, like, a little cutscene. And that way it's less of just these offhand conversations, but we could actually see Rolf fighting, right? Like a little contingent of liberation soldiers. You know, there's fighting. Rolf gets, like, charged and has to dive out of the way, and Adel comes in, kills the knight who charged him, and then helps Rolf to his feet. And there's this inciting, right, like, exchange there. And that would be... Obviously, that's so much more dev time and animation time and shit like that, but that's what takes something like this to the next level, you know? Reduce it down in scope so there's not 50,000 of these, but really make the ones that you do impactful and meaningful. Having trouble sleeping, Joseph? Good evening, Your Highness. I was merely recalling the last time I set foot in these lands, on a voyage of duty at Queen Elenia's side. What reason did you and my mother have for visiting Elheim? If you wouldn't mind sharing the tale with me, that is. Wait, did I click on the wrong person? It must have been 20 years past by now. We had received word that a pack of Bestrels were seen crossing the border into southern Cornea. Evidently, they hailed from this very region. Yet at the time, passage to and from Bastorius to our north was altogether barred, though as you can surely imagine, few in Cornea had ever laid eyes on a Bestrel before that day. How did they arrive in Elheim exactly, and for what purpose were they advancing into our territory? That was what we hoped to learn ourselves, and sent the lord of the region, Ryman, to capture the errant beasts, Bestrels, the foul sorcerer who betrayed our nation. Shortly after, an envoy of soldiers crossed the border from Elheim and demanded we hand over any Bestrels we were able to capture, and of course to alert them to the presence of any further that we discovered. Ryman reacted rather severely upon hearing this. He claimed it not but pretext for the Elven nation to invade our own. I can hardly think of a single reason why they would want to do such a thing. From what I understand, the bounties of Elheim are equally as rich as those of Cornea, if not more so. And they've little economic hardship due to their lengthened lifespans and slower population growth. Right you are, your highness. Queen Elenia argued those very points herself. But there can be no discounting the inordinate fear which people have for the unknown. This particular region of Elheim is home to a great many half-elves, while the pure-blooded tend to be few and far between. In other words, it is a place of refuge for the undesirable parts of elven society. Yet rather than sympathize with the plight of the downtrodden, Cornea was rampant with baseless rumors and slander. Chief among them, a claim that the elves had employed a wicked magic to transform humans into bestial warriors. Warriors whom they kept hidden in this territory with the intent of launching an eventual attack. Sensing the danger in such spiteful sentiments, Queen Elenia requested an audience with the then Turanos of Elheim. Thus it was decided they would meet here, a province known for its relative independence, and that I was to accompany her, Majesty, a vital role as her personal guard. Were you able to reach a resolution? In the end, yes. Both nations agreed to only patrol their respective sides of the border in search of Bestrels. Those Bestrels would then be delivered safely back to Bastorius, as stated in terms negotiated with their king. 'Twas upon the fulfillment of that agreement that this cautionary tale met its conclusion. I hadn't realized these lands held such history. Her Majesty's political sense was truly a joy to witness, while all who doubted her could only look on in stunned silence. I have every faith that such skill lives on within you as well. I pray you're right, and thank you, Joseph, for sharing the story with me. Yeah, that was not the conversation I was intending. Whoops. Nope. What am I here for? Oh, I was here for Adel and Yana, okay. Whoops. What's the matter, boy? Can't sleep? Ah, Yana. Apologies if I awoke you. You didn't. I was just about to turn in for the night when I saw you leaving your tent. Let me guess. The rush of our battle earlier is keeping you awake. It's a common problem among younger knights. You have the short of it, and while I know I'll suffer for this unease tomorrow, here I stand all the same. The human mind can be a cruel thing sometimes. Here, drink this. It's a concoction of mine that can quell your worries and lull you into a peaceful sleep, though I expect you'll find it bitter indeed. 'Tis quite the honor, and one I would be fooled to decline. I can only but imagine the slumber such a potion might bring. Now let's see here. Didn't like it, Don't worry, everyone spits out their first dose. That's why I always carry a spare bottle. Go on, try it again. Must I? No, I can't let her kindness go unrequited. Summon your courage, Adel. Prove your worth as a gallant knight of Cornea. I've never seen someone invoke chivalry to stomach one of my medicines. Maybe I should put some effort into the flavor. And wouldn't it be fun to have future conversations where Yana just keeps drugging Adel? Alright. Elaine, Berenice, and Clive. We'll go with Berenice first. That seems like the least. Every time I see that one, I think, did I do that one? Hold a moment. Is that you, Berenice? Ah, it is. We've not seen each other since you left the Order. Got booted from it, you mean? Guess this means you ride for the Liberation now. It does. The time felt right, now that my province is rid of its cruel lord. If I may, though, you carry quite the blade. I take it you still bear little interest in cavalry work, then? Would rather stick to what I do best, yep. Me and horses don't really see eye to eye. Haha, I remember. The day of our training, you spent more time on the ground than in the saddle. Amusing, yes. Still, none of us could ever match your skill with the blade. Good thing is, there's more to being a knight than clomping around on some dumb horse. Beast. Besides, I'm just a regular old mercenary now, and for us, steel's the only thing that matters. That's fair, yes. I'm sorry for even mentioning it. Seeing you just stirred up some old memories. Don't worry about it. Gotta say, though, it feels good being back on the same side. See you on the battlefield, Adel. And wait. See, would be nice to have a robust, like, drawn-out scenario where that conversation happens basically as soon as you have Adel and... Again, the other thing is, and I haven't really talked about this at length, but it's... This game has this kind of, like, semi-open world-ish feel. And on one hand, that's fun. On the other hand, it's entirely unnecessary, and you can make things more refined, more fine-tuned by having less of that open world-ish feel and a more controlled linear growth of having to go here, having to do these things, having to do it in this order-ish. Like, you can have branching paths. They could totally still have us branch around Cornea, branch in and up through Drakenhold, branch into Elheim. A lot of those things were relatively linear anyways, but you can skip a lot of stuff if you want to. Take that out, right? Keep the branching if you want, but take out the chance to skip things. Reduce the number of battles, reduce all of the liberation fights down, pull it down, right? But just make it these required set-piece battles, and when you do that, that means you know when you have Adel, you know when you have Berenice, and you know as soon as you have both of them, that next battle or whatever, you can have basically that conversation with them. Marching to the battle or actually on the battlefield, right? Again, these little points on the battlefield I think would be so cool, where they know each other, they see each other, and they're like, oh shit, we're fighting on the same side now. Again, that's cool. And then they can build on that as we travel the world. You can put in these points because, you know, oh, it's been X amount of time since these two characters have interacted. Let's have another moment for them. And that's how you really make this type of shit snappy and, like, really impactful. You fighting ghosts out here or what? Ah, Berenice. I merely thought to sneak in a bit of extra training. Much as I hate to admit it, I have still plenty to learn compared to the more senior knights of the Liberation. So I only have one option. Strive to reach the heights of my betters, or be left ever choking upon their dust. Huh. Better answer than I was expecting. But you know, I'm pretty big on training myself, though not really for the same reason. Always looking for people who want to spar, too. What do you say? I'd be glad to, if you had a steed to face me on. Like I even need one. Word of warning, though. Think of me as some common soldier, and I promise you'll regret it. I suppose that's what I get for making assumptions. Now, let's begin. An impressive bout, Berenice. Not only did you elude my charges and strike at my flank, but you even positioned yourself opposite my spear, all while keeping us at a safe distance. Hey, you weren't so bad yourself. You and that horse of yours move with the same mind. Even more now than back in our days with the Order. Can't say I was expecting a fight that tough. High praise coming from you. Just let me know if you want to spar again, yeah? I'm not planning to choke on your dust either. See, it'd be great to have, like, capstones. That felt like a solid, like, halfway, like, midpoint for their relationship. For, like, their friendship. When I say relationship, I don't always mean relationship. You know? Elaine... Ah, fuck it. We'll do Elaine and Adel. Otis, you stretching? Look at them toe beans. Look at them little toe beans. Oh, shit. He's like, don't touch my toes. It's just... Best leader any of us could ever ask for. Quite enough eulogizing for one evening, Adel. Perhaps you should consider laying off the ale as well. But you agree with me, don't you? You've gotta. I mean, imagine being younger than us and leading a whole army all by yourself. Sound kind of weird to say, but I'm proud of him, you know? A guy like him's gonna be a great king, I'm sure of it. Down with Zenora. Long live the amazing King Elaine. Adel, please. There can be no telling what enemy soldiers might lie within earshot. Or what kings. It's a fine evening we're having, is it not? Your Highness, what are you doing here? Now this is worth coming to town for. A word, Adel. Please tell me you didn't hear all that. I mean, seems your penchant for drunken outbursts has finally caught up with you. Forgive me, Your Highness. I'll not touch another drop of ale again, I promise. Calm yourself, Adel. I wasn't planning to scold you. In fact, I'm glad to hear how highly you think of me, if not a bit embarrassed by it. Thank you for saying so, Your Highness. We're lucky he's as generous a man as he is, Adel. Anyone else and you'd be cast from our army entirely. For praising him openly and publicly while drunk? Calm down. Adel and Clive. You looking a little fierce there, Otis. You disturbed? Are you mad at me because I touched your toe beans? You know, Adel, training like this delivers my mind straight to our days coming through the Order. I was just thinking the same thing. I'm amazed we even survived it. Ooh, yeah, flashback me, baby. Even the slowest foot soldier could dodge such languid thrusts. Understood, sir. But you're lacking accuracy, Adel. Speed means nothing if you can't even land a simple blow. Thank you, sir. Enough for now. Convene with the infantry for joint maneuvers. Move! Strict though he might have been, the captain bore great kindness as well. Would have been, because didn't we have a scenario where Adel talked about, or was it Clive? It was Clive talking to Renault about training under him. It would be great if that was like a flashback of Renault teaching Clive and Adel, right? Like that'd be super cool. Do you remember the day Zenora invaded our province? He sent us to the rear guard and took the front line himself to lead the charge. I was furious, sick of being treated like a damned child who could barely hold a spear. But I realize now it wasn't lack of confidence that motivated the command. It was protecting us. Indeed, the captain entrusted us with the future of our order and the future of Fevrith. 'Tis the only reason we stand here today. Difficult as it was at the time, we owe him our lives. So many have lost friends and family to this war, losses which must be avenged. And strength is the only way we'll see it happen. I couldn't agree more. We must further hone our spears as the captain said, to do proud those who keep faith in us, His Highness most of all. Come, Clive, we've got training to do. I suppose we couldn't have it be Renault if the captain fell, but, you know. I always find, like, in situations like this, it's always less impactful if you have some nameless, faceless person be the part of the flashback. Because it's like, I don't know this person, I don't have any, like, attachment to them, you know? But if Clive and Adel's actual scenario was them talking about their training together and who their captain was and their captain's name and stuff like that, that can help build that person up, you know? Though we often face those who capitulated to Zenora, as a thought has only now occurred to me. I'm certain some of them surrendered not out of true deference, but merely to the wish to see those they loved safe. Those we crossed spears with in our battle for the province were no different, I guess. With each combatant I felled, I couldn't help but feel some distant sense of loss. Same with me. We can't afford to falter now. We take up arms to protect the weak, to deliver justice to those who strayed from its light. I won't tell you to just get over it either. Remorse is a natural part of warfare. My only issue with this type of scenario is yeah, that type of shit happens, absolutely. One side will just capitulate to the other because they don't want to get slaughtered. But the alternate there, right? Like the other side of it is if you capitulate once because you don't want to get slaughtered, why wouldn't you do it again? Right? If you're this teensy province and some massive Zenoiran army comes and is like, we're gonna kill everyone, and you're like, we surrender, we swear fealty. Cool, great. If a big-ass liberation army shows up and says, hey, we're coming through here because we're gonna kick Zenoira's ass, why would you not just immediately be like, oh, cool, we have zero interest in fighting you. I mean, obviously the scenario is from a real political standpoint, it's trying to judge if you just turncoat and throw your weight to this liberation army and then they get smashed, Zenoira is going to come and butcher you. But the thing is you're deciding to risk your life and be butchered for the concept of fighting against this person who you don't want to fight, because the fear is if you throw in with this person and they lose, then this person's gonna come kill you. Put off that fight for as long as possible. Like, anyways. And all involved must bear the weight of their actions and the consequences. Some reluctantly sided with Zenoira to protect their families. Others did so much more willingly. But an enemy is an enemy, no matter the circumstances. And there's only one end we can grant to such adversaries. So don't waver in your conviction, Clive. They would strike you down at the first sign of doubt. Indeed, I shall take heart in your words, as I always have. And if I may, Adel, I'm proud to name you a dear friend. Let's make it through this together, shall we? Alright, it's 10 o'clock. We are not done, but we might go until about 10:30 or so. We're really getting close to, like, knocking more and more of these out. Like, we're really diminishing our numbers. What is it, Adel? Well, I want to apologize for my actions at the tavern back in Cornea. In that drunken evening, you did nothing but sing my praises. I do indeed. And I've already told you I was glad to hear you say such things, though perhaps you should consider keeping your voice down in the future. I will, Your Highness. But if I may, I truly do believe you to be one of the finest. You'll be one of the finest kings our land has ever seen. I really hope so. It would suck if we went through all of this and then the like epilogue is, and Elaine was a truly shit king. Do you now? Forgive me if this comes across as rude, but I would feel the same even if you didn't belong to the royal family. Your leadership and the kindness you show your soldiers comes not from days in the castle, but those spent marching with our army. So it doesn't matter if you're the crown prince or just a simple commander. To me, you're everything Cornea could ever hope for in a ruler. Thank you for saying so, Adel. Ooh, he blushing. And I wonder, where is this outpour of emotion even coming from? It's simple, really. If my ale-perfumed words at that tavern were enough to please you, then I thought I should restate the sentiment while in full command of my senses. I want you to know how I truly feel, and I want you to be certain it comes from me, not the alcohol. Sorry to interrupt, Adel, but how long do you plan on flattering me for? Are you all right, Your Highness? Your face is as red as mine after a long night of drinking. Yeah, that's fine. Ah! There's a thing I missed. Berenice. Clive. 2 with Clive. Oh, nope, that's right. Long time no see, Morden. Sure is. I started to wonder if you'd gone and gotten yourself killed. Yeah, like that would happen. Never thought I'd find you with the Liberation, though. And working for free, no less. I could say the same thing about you. You're not exactly what I'd call a righteous war kind of girl, after all. I didn't used to be, not until I met Elaine. But there's something different about him. A real fire in his eyes. It's sounding to me like you're falling for the kid. Maybe I have. Next you'll tell me you saw a swine sprout wings and fly off into the sunset. Hilarious, Morden. Really though, it's been years since I actually enjoyed fighting like this. Years since I found someone strong enough to keep up with me. Well, I'm glad to hear it. But you're wrong about me working for free. Once that kid is sitting on the throne, he's gonna pay me back for everything I've done. Just you wait. I'll be sleeping on a bed of solid gold, holding tight to the finest mead this land has ever seen. That's more like the Morden I know. See, that was nice. That was pleasant. Clive and Berenice. I won't forget this. Yeah, just keep walking if you know what's good for you. Berenice, what's going on here? Oh, that? Just a little scuffle is all. Thank you, ma'am. I believe I understand now. You stepped in to assist that girl. Yet judging by appearances, I can only assume you did so through force, not words. A noble deed marred by a most ignoble methodology. Yeah, it's not the best look. But you and me both know I've never been too big on tact. Be that as it may, there are more means to solve an issue than with your fists. Either way, a little chat wouldn't have helped much here. Black eyes and bruises are the only language a guy like that talks. Perhaps so, yes. Still, it's a point well taken. I'll keep it in mind next time, yeah? Can't promise it'll turn out any different, though. Whatever shall I do with you, Berenice? I don't know, I'm on her side. Most of the time, the only language guys like that understand are black eyes and bruises. At least until they get enough black eyes and bruises. At times I wonder, Berenice, how would matters stand now had you never been cast from our order? Quite a question, that. If not for that faithful day, the two of us could have raised the banner of the liberation together, not strewn across the nation like so much shattered glass. You think so? Nice work back there, old man. Keep that up and you'll get handpicked for the Royal Guard in no time. I mean, that is what you're after, right? Feels like Queen Elenia's the only thing you talk about sometimes. Gaily. Fuck Gaily. Piece of shit. Quiet, girl. And would it pain you to call me captain for once? So I know they say Elenia's smart, but I still don't know about a woman leading our country. Beat that guy's ass too. I mean, she's letting Drakenhold practically walk all over us. We'd never be that spineless if I was in charge. What was that about our queen? Say it again, I dare you. You wanna fight, bastard? Elenia's little lapdog sure has some bark today. But do you have the bite, Gaily? Easy there, old man. Or do you really want to throw away your shot at the Royal Guard over a pair of nothings? Damn the Royal Guard. I'll not let these knaves speak of our queen however they wish. Guess I've only got one choice then. Enough, you two. Take back what you said and we can all walk away happy. Why would I? I was only speaking the truth, you know. Now come here. I need to get some payback for earlier. Wait! Too late. And she kicked his ass. You're gonna pay for that. Kicked his ass too. Oh, it makes it worse that she took the blame for Gailey. You're expecting me to thank you for that outburst of yours. It won't happen. I think it would. But hey, at least now you've still got a chance of making the Royal Guard. Besides, turns out those two were up to some nasty stuff behind our backs. No sympathy for fools who can't understand the bounty our queen provides. And they certainly have no right to serve her royal name. By the way, you gonna punish me or what? Fighting in the ranks probably gets me expelled, huh? Just like them. Such is the sentence, yes. Oh, maybe it's for the best then. Go on and enjoy the capital. As for me, I think a mercenary fits me better than a knight. Such a... Oh, I don't like that at all. That's such a bad flavor. Even back then, I knew you would never initiate a fight without fair reason. I attempted to appeal as such on your behalf, but there was only so much I could say, having not been present myself. And Gailey didn't do anything about it. That's fucking shit. My words were dismissed as though they were mere air. Not that it would have mattered, of course. Never stopped insisting you had struck first. You were protecting him, weren't you? If only you had told the truth, Berenice. Then what? I would have stayed with the Ashen Blue? Some good that would have done. We'd have lost the province to Zenoira, whether I was there or not. So yeah, I might have walked a different road, but all of them led right to the same spot. And I don't regret it, if that's what you're wondering. The old man would have done anything for Elenia. So would I. That is pretty nice. That is a pretty nice resolution there. Berenice and Elaine. You've been awfully fitful tonight, Otis. Flopping around a bunch, waking up a bunch, staring me with those big dumb eyes. So, what do you think? In all honesty, it feels rather different than what I'm used to. Not surprised there. Big sword like this is a whole nother beast. If you've never trained with one, you'll be all worn out after just a swing or two. As I've noticed, yes. But hey, that's nothing a bit of practice can't solve. Perhaps so, and I believe I'll be better off persisting with my current blade. Well, as long as you've got something you're happy with. Better to be a specialist than try and spread yourself too thin. My thinking exactly. Though at times I've wondered if I should learn a variety of weapons to adapt to any situation we might come across. It's no small thing being that versatile. But if you're a real expert, you don't need to adapt. You overcome. By an expert, do you happen to be speaking of yourself? Sorry? Clive has noted your talent for that very phenomenon, Baroness. Your confidence with which you cut down mounted opponents, despite your inherent difficulties against them. I've witnessed it often as well. And I must admit the skill you bear with that blade has seen you turn even the most dire situations in your favor. I actually can attest to that. Berenice slaps. Easy there, Elaine. I didn't say all that just to fish for compliments. More of that and I might have started blushing. My point is, don't worry about how many weapons you can use. Focus on one and see where it takes you. I'll do just that then. Thank you, Berenice. Anytime. Now come on. Got some training to get back to. It would also be nice to know more relative ages. You know? Berenice! And again, your training proves a true test of mettle, Berenice. And hey, at least you've got the guts to keep coming back for more. Almost reminds me of myself when I was younger. Does it now? You probably won't believe it looking at me, but I got bullied all the time as a kid. It does come as a surprise, yes. To blame all the bad harvests we used to have. I was barely skin and bones most of the time. But I wanted nothing more than to be able to stand up for myself, so I started training. Now look at me, tough enough to take down every last bully in Fevrith. That's why I decided to become a knight, actually, to help kids like me who didn't have it in them to fight back. Didn't last that long, sadly. But whether it's in the biggest war or the tiniest brawl, this world preys on the weak day in and day out. Someday, I'm gonna change that. I hope you do. You're fighting for the same reason, right? Make a better life for all our people. I am. But we really should be getting back to our training now, Berenice. Sorry, I'm not in the mood anymore. I think I need a little change of pace after all that depressing stuff. What did you have in mind? A rematch. I still haven't gotten over losing to you the day we met. I should have known you'd suggest another form of exercise. Hey, it's not like you're any better. You and I both know you'd rather be doing this than sewing or painting. I won't deny that. I suppose it would do us well to measure the results of our training. Just don't expect it to go as easy as last time, yeah? Elaine definitely wins against Berenice. He's faster. Yana! Actually doesn't have much left. It has 2 with Hodrick, though. That's interesting. Yana and Osh. No, this isn't right either. Why won't you work, damn you? Is that she always used to put in here? What's all this grumbling for, Osh? Ah, you're that witch from the swamp. Hey, get your hands off my notebook. A recipe, Last I heard, they only eat this stew in the more remote regions of Cornea. A local cuisine, then. I'd always assumed my mother created the dish herself. Well, you'll be glad to know I've actually had it. It's strangely sweet, yet addictingly acidic at the same time. And while its key ingredient is rather quick to spoil, we should have a fitting substitute somewhere around here. Aha! This should do just the trick. Care to try it? Why are you doing this exactly? My culinary troubles should be no concern of yours. Oh, just wanted to help a young sorcerer in need. Don't read too much into it. So, shall we? I suppose we can test it out, just this once. How's this? It's close, I would say, but far too sweet. Yes. Seems I'll have to use a little less honey next time. To be frank, I can't keep eating this. I fear I'll forget what my mother's version ever even tasted like. Oh? Those must be some memories indeed if a spoonful of soup is enough to wash them away. Dare mock me? Bring it here, I'll drink the entire bowl. Be my guest. Really is an arrogant child. For some reason, I can't resist helping him. And we only get one of those? See, it would be so cool to have a set of conversations with Yana basically mentoring Osh. That would be great. Yep. This is quite a quandary. What's wrong, Yana? Well, I bought some new clothes over in town, but it turns out they're much too small for me to fit into. And I tried offering to them some other soldiers of ours, yet nobody seemed especially interested. So here I am, stuck with an outfit I can't wear and no one to give it to. Another cool thing, I loved when we got outfit changes when we promoted. It'd be super cool to have other outfit opportunities in this game. Even if it was just like very brief scenarios, like in skits like this, where someone changes into an outfit, it'd be super cool. In that case, you don't mind if I take a look? Or do you mind if I take a look? Be my guest. You can even try it on if you'd like. I wore something Yana picked out for herself. Maybe I can be just as charming and mature as she is. Here you are, Chloe. Oh, this is a fair bit less fabric than I was expecting. Not sure if size can really be an issue when there's barely any clothing here to begin with. You would think not, but it was still rather tight around my waist. Though a slender girl like you should have no problem with that. Go on, try it. If you say so. Don't do this, Chloe. There are some things the world's not meant to see. What? What's that supposed to mean? Please, Chloe, you have plenty of charm as it is without resorting to such revealing attire. Let the girl try some clothes on, game. What the fuck? You too, Scarlet? That's fucked up, y'all. That's fucked up. It would actually be funny to see Chloe in a Yana outfit. Hip shaky. Alright, Yana and Hodrick. Good day, Lady Yana. Same to you, my little Hodrick. But tell me, is there a reason you seem so flustered? Well, 'tis merely... Go on. If you've something to say, then come out and say it. In truth, your choice of clothing is rather revealing, is it not? Is that what all this fuss is about? I much prefer the mobility it provides, especially compared to a bulky suit of armor like yours. You can have plenty of mobility and not be hip shaky. Besides, you can always just look away if you don't like it. That's true. As for me, I plan to enjoy my newfound youth however I please, and wearing these clothes is but one part of that. After all, they wouldn't quite suit a wizened old court sorceress, now would they? I suppose not. In that case, I shall strive to respect your choice in attire, Lady Yana. Really? We should all be able to wear exactly what we want. That includes you, my little Hodrick. Have you ever considered taking off all that stuffy metal for a moment? I could do no such thing. The day I remove my armor is the day I fail my duty as the shield of the liberation. I mean, you gotta sleep sometimes. Somehow I knew you'd say that. That would be another thing. Like, I think taking the tavern system out of the game and instead putting it as like an after battle scenario, where after battle you could, you know, like choose camp cooks or something like that. And so after like each battle, there was like this, you know, scenario where the camp cooks would cook for the army, and you could like invite individuals to your table, right? Like, that I think would be a much better system than the here's a tavern that you can use to build up your rapport with people. It'd be way cooler if it was integrated into the actual like flow of the game itself. That way, like, you have this situation where you're like actively, oh, I know after each battle I'm gonna do this thing where I, you know, appoint camp cooks. They each have like their own special dishes or whatever. Maybe even add like a little buff mechanic to it, a little one-off scenario that's kind of cool. But then Elaine picking like people to sit at his table with him is kind of like this really cool mechanic of like getting to know one another and have conversations, and that kind of like relationship building would be really cool. Compared to how it currently is. There's just so many things that you can do with a system like this to really enhance it and make it more than what it currently is. Of all our time together, my little Hodrick, one memory stands tall above the rest. The day you unmade the magic sigil I had drawn to defend Grand Corinne from potential invaders. I fear I may never live it down. Yes, inadvertent though it may have been. The misfortune began when I stumbled over the votive offering at the heart of your sigil. Your magical implements scattered everywhere, and in their place fell the dried fish I had happened to be carrying. It was quite a shock to summon forth an army of spectral kittens rather than the knights I'd hoped for. Yet it did serve the same purpose in the sense. None could ever slip past the many hungry cats undetected. In all my years on this earth, I'd never seen a more amusing sight. I suppose I'm fortunate that pangs of laughter are the only trouble my mistake brought. I do wonder, though, what were you doing with all those fish to begin with? They were for my blade master at the time. He was a difficult man, yet I heard he loved cats more than anything in the world. Hence I thought to lure one to the training ground in hopes of easing his stern demeanor. Seems you got a little more than you bargained for. Still, I assume any cat would have done the job, spectral or no. 'Tis a fair thought, but unfortunately he fainted the moment he saw the spirits ambling towards him. The day's training was cancelled, as you might expect, and I found myself faced with a rather lengthy suspension from duty. That explains why I didn't see you for some time after that. Still, a lover of cats with a deathly fear of spirits. Perhaps this Blade Master was a more timid man than he led you to believe. That would have been really funny. Like thinking about that, that would have been a really funny flashback. But also, again, that would have been a really funny conversation to have at a table. You, Elaine, after battle, invite Yana and Hodrick to your table, two other people, and there's these little conversations that pass back and forth, and you can like listen in on a conversation, or like when the rapport builds to a certain point, they just naturally share this conversation and tell that story. And then it becomes a scenario where they're recounting that story to others, not just each other. And that's really cool. That would be really fun. Morden! Alright, we're gonna probably try to finish out Morden, and then that will probably be it for tonight. We're getting really close, though. I do think we'll be able to knock things out tomorrow relatively easily. I don't think there's that many left. You there, kid. Ah, Morden, was it? That's what they call me. Anyway, you notice you got a nice big chip on that lance of yours. I do now, yes. It would seem I'll need to procure a new one when next we're in town. Talking about buying? At least let me take a look at it first. Could be an easy fix. If anyone can do it, it's an old stonemason like me. I'd much appreciate that, thank you. Go right ahead. There you are, good as new. Craftsmanship. You've done finer work than even my preferred blacksmith. Glad to hear it. Now let's talk fees. Hold a moment. You mean to demand gold from me? What do you think this is, a charity job? All I'm asking is for a bit of drinking money. When you really think about it, this is still plenty cheaper than buying a whole new weapon. Mind you, keep your wits about you, no need to worry about me, kid. I've been swimming in ale since before you were born. Gordon and Rolf. Karen and Bruno. Chloe and Hodrick. Rolf and Morden. Very nice. Well then, it's about time I get to bed. Joking, right? Not even a child goes to sleep this early. Besides, we still got an entire bottle of wine left. Forgive me, Morden. My daily routine starts rather early in the morning. First you're acting like a child, and now you're sounding older than I do. It's so important that you have to skip out on a nice drink to wake up for it. To begin with, I plan to meditate in a nearby grove. Then I'll check the traps I've laid in the area, patrolling the perimeter of camp all the while. After that, I intend to examine my equipment before moving on to a bit of archery practice. Alright, I get it. I'm used to drinking by myself anyway. Not sure I understand your frustration, Morden. I've already shared a glass with you. You say we both turn in now instead, and you can accompany me in the morning. I'd say you'd lost it. There's not a chance I'm getting to sleep this early. Well, you'll never know unless you try. Come, let's put that bottle away. You gotta be kidding me. Get your damn hands off my wine. This is nice. Nothing quite like a brisk morning breeze, Says you, maybe. I'm suffering over here. It would have been nice to see Morden have like a little like, okay, this isn't too bad, but not for me. We're almost in a single page, y'all. Almost. We're just gonna be one off. I guess we could try to finish. Osh doesn't have. We might finish Osh as well, just to try to like get it down to one page for tomorrow. That's you, sir? What are you doing back in Barbatimo? Well, I see what's happening here. All your drinking finally got you thrown out of that army. Like hell it did. Say that again, I dare you. How fares that errand you mentioned, Morden? Oh, hold on a second. Aren't you the commander of the Liberation? Could have guessed it had something to do with that girl you were so fond of, sir. I knew she'd asked you to fix up the walls, but you had left for the war before you ever got the chance to do so. Makes sense you'd want to come home and right that wrong, though. Really have to spell it out like that? In any event, we're only here because Morden requested we take a detour as we were passing through the region. Well then, what are we waiting for? The Iron Helms will be glad to help spruce our city up a bit. The ones of us that are left, at least. We'll also need to resupply the Liberation stores, Morden, meaning we'll be staying in the area at least for the time being. If you wish to aid in the renovations, now is perhaps your best chance. Thanks for this, Elaine. I'll try and make it quick. Old boss hasn't changed a bit, you know. Every ounce as warm and considerate as always. Right you are. And while he often strives not to show such traits, you can sense them beneath the surface almost constantly. At heart, he is one of the kindest, most dedicated souls I've ever had the honor of coming across. Probably one of the heaviest drinkers, too. That's enough standing around, though. I should get in there and help him. All done now. Sorry, kid. Didn't mean to drag you into this. What are you looking at me like that for? There's nothing to worry about. Thank you, Mort. Everything that you do for us. I like it. It's nice. He's nice. Okay. Let's finish Osh. That way we're down to 1 page. Be a hop, skip, and a jump tomorrow. All I have to do now is promote this pawn, and victory will be mine. You carved through my defenses as though they were mere paper. As you should have expected from an old Zenoiran general. I could never lose a game of chess to a mere archer like you. Where to move next? I have to say, though, the Liberation's march has led us some distance from our homes. Never in my most fanciful dreams did I imagine we'd be standing now in the realm of angels. Speaking of which, I'd always thought them to be exclusively young women. But there are men among them as well, children too, even the elderly. Though nothing confounds me quite like the large, muscular angels with their massive shields. In truth, I'm not even certain how their wings can support them. Right? Perhaps it's a manner of levitation magic endemic to the sacred shores of Albion. What do you think, Rolf? I trust your assessment, whatever it may be, though I'm not sure I'm the right person to ask about such things. Same goes for most matters, to be completely frank. Her mind is constantly flooded with these grand ideas, while I barely even say a word in response. Ever grow bored of such conversations? Of course not. If anything, it makes my life all the easier. How so? Never find fault in my words, for one, so I'm free to say whatever thought crosses my mind. That, and you actually listen to what I have to say. I am pretty good at that, yes. I imagine few others could stomach your endless rambling. You what? By the way, you're about to get checkmated. Don't be ridiculous, No. How is this possible? Now what was that you said about losing to a mere archer? Suppose this is what I deserve for taunting you. I like their friendship. Alright. Last one for Osh. This can't be happening. Not after I promised His Highness I would earn his praise. It was a simple accident, Sir Osh, and wholly out of our control at that. You can't blame yourself for such things. Besides, the rite itself was practically perfect. Take heart in that, if nothing else. Fools, your necks aren't the ones on the chopping block here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to... Oh, calm down. He apologized immediately. It should be no surprise they think to abandon me. My search for glory yet goes on, both for Mother and for Elaine. Good evening, Osh. Your Highness, what are you doing here? I've come to speak about what transpired between you and those sorcerers just now. Saw that, did you? Go on then. Scold me however you will. I knew the day would come that you cast me from your army. Not certain what you mean. Don't lie to me. You must regret ever letting a failure such as I walk amongst you. No, Not another word. Just go. Abandon me like all the rest. Calm the fuck down. Stop talking and listen for a moment, Osh. I'm only here because I worry for you. What? As do your fellow sorcerers, actually. They seemed convinced you wouldn't listen were it coming from them. Right you are, Your Highness. Yours is the sole voice that Osh has ears for. Don't worry about me, sir. I know you didn't do it on purpose, though it did leave a fairly unsightly mark. Have you considered learning the art of fist fighting instead? Could you imagine? Osh punching someone? They're quite the pair, those two. Hero is positively racked with guilt, and that's their response? They haven't abandoned you, Osh, nor shall I drive you out of the Liberation's ranks. From where I stand, 'tis plain as day the respect they have for you. It's also why they never utter a single word of complaint, no matter how unreasonable your demands may be. That is the mark of a true leader, Osh, one I would be fool to do away with. Then you're sure about this, despite all of my failings in being of use. You haven't failed. I find the work you've done with our magic wielders to be a true achievement, in fact. Yet, even were it not, the day shall never come that I regret enlisting your service. Thank you, Your Highness. Having said that, I suggest you pay more attention when others are speaking to you. Not only that, but... Moved on to scolding now, have you? Though perhaps it's only fair I accept it today. Kinda. You freaked out a little bit there. Otis! Alright, let's take a look real quick. We've got Sharon, Bruno, Rolf, Aubin, Travis, Clive, Podrick, Chloe, Joseph, Lex, Scarlett, and Elaine. And honestly, a lot of these have very few. 4 conversations here, 4 conversations there, 1 conversation there, 1 conversation there. What is that? 4, 5, 6 conversations. 6? Yeah, 6 conversations there. So we are definitely close. This is still actually a lot. But again, it's that scenario of the further we go, the more rapid it goes, because each of these, right, is a conversation with someone up here, so they're all cutting into each other pretty quickly, which is cool. That's good. Like, these... Bruno is going to cut down this Travis stuff. Travis is going to cut down the Chloe and Joseph stuff. So yeah, this is Sharon's gonna cut down the Bruno Lex stuff. We'll definitely be finishing this up next time. So tomorrow, because today's Monday, so that'll be Tuesday. So we should be able to finish this up. I'm hoping within an hour, hour and a half. So that means after that, we kind of have that situation of, do we then try to go do the final battle immediately afterwards? I say final battle again. I don't even know that it's the final battle. I just assume that it's the final battle. We still have the Febrite stuff. We've got a lot of honors now, actually. We could do several of those. And we'll probably hit 800 before we're done. So that's, what, 16 weapons that we could upgrade there. And I think we have enough star metal or whatever it is to go get more meteorite weapons. So we might end up doing a bit of that and then seeing how it goes. So kind of trying to like timeline things out. It might end up being that we do a lot of this stuff, set up some final things, and then maybe we tiptoe into the final battle if we have more time tomorrow, or not, and then we kind of like jump into things on Thursday with the intention of trying to finish things up. We'll see though. So yeah, that is gonna be the end of this session. We'll be back tomorrow with some more Unicorn Overlord. Thanks for hanging out. You're so cute. You're so cute. That's it. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.